What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show on this fine Tuesday evening. And it's cooled down in Florida because it started raining, but before it's miserable out there. It's like a sauna. It just opens up and it's all you got out there. But it comes with the territory out here. You love the winters and you deal with the summers until it gets to like November. That's kind of my approach to it. Before we actually have some really good, we've got a lot of things to, as typical in theme park space lately. You have to pick the stories because there's so many. We could probably do like 5-hour live stream on everything that's out there right now, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep this, a minimum 4 hours, something, reasonable time here. But before we get into anything and do, anybody want to say hey to the chat? We got MagicalyMJ. What's up, MJ? And Juliet dropped a 2 sterling British pounds. I think I'm right on that one this time. Morning Vash, Simulcast, and Skyliners and Skywatchers. Thank you, Julian. What's up, Julia? Juliet, excuse me. And then we got Remy D. We got Brandon, Lego, Uni. I always get that one messed up. Universal fan, I think is what he's going for there. The Real Ventures, Robert White. We even got Vash is in here, and he's on the stream too. He's in both places. Kiki and Lucas, Storybook Sorceress, Robert Colton, and Attractions POV. Plenty more, but thank you guys for being here. Mr. Seymour Duck's here as well. Before we get into our topics and everything like that, I'm going to introduce this fine panel we have this afternoon or this evening, which we'll start off here with Mr. Orange Grove 55, Mr. Founder of Orange Grove 55. Thank you for being here, as always. And where can everybody find you out there?
It's really funny. I usually don't do like the little tag thing on the bottom, but my StreamYard was really getting kind of weird. Like, I don't know if you noticed, like the last show.
I was going to mention that to you because it was like cutting off your bar. And I didn't know why. It was only your box, though.
It was only my box, yeah. And without me adding that in, it was like the name was like getting like way too low. Huh. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got to put something in there. So I put founder of OG55,
At least you didn't put CEO. I always love when people have like a CEO. And I'm like, okay, let's calm down a little bit.
Exactly. No, I can't wait for the show. Great time with Jared, Vash, Alan from Almighty Coasters. Our first time on theme parking, but not the first time on OG55. Alan and I are good friends, and we actually do a lot of bar chats on my channel. So really excited to dive in. But you can find me right here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, on Instagram, Orange Grove 55, and on X, Orange Grove 55. And big shout out to Mr. Seymour Duck. I love Mr. Duck. He's awesome.
Absolutely. And of course, we're joining Mr. Vash Sky as well, which apparently some people said you kind of look like Joe Pesci in the thumbnail art. I think it's a mix, but I think clearly Vash is the most lethal person in that thumbnail. I think the AI like to make Vash look the most like menacing out of all of them. But Vash, thanks for being here. And where can they find you out there?
It doesn't matter whether it's the video or in photos. That's just where I am. I suppose it's apropos, I don't know, but you can find me at Vash Sky ParkCast if you would like to. We just passed actually 8,000 subscribers. Very cool, awesome stuff. I want to go ahead and thank each and every one of you out there to making that possible right there. Very cool indeed. Tomorrow I'm going to be on That Park Place, but afterwards we're going to have a live stream. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern right there, talking about some of the stories are going to feature here. Jared, I'm sure. Others, it's going to come out of left field. Like, I don't know, somebody getting out of a log and stuff like that. It's some crazy stuff indeed. Yeah. But you can go ahead and find me at Vash Sky on X and Vash Sky ParkCast over there on YouTube.
There he is.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You're going to hit 10K here in like a week. You're going to get there.
Yep. I don't know if that fast.
We'll say 6
going
months.
Very fast.
We'll under promise, over deliver. We'll say 6 months, and you'll get it in like
right. 6 months. That's perfect. I like that.
There we go.
There you go. And the first time here on Theme Park, and we have Alan from Almighty Coasters. Thank you for being here, Alan. And where can everybody find you? And what do you do on your channel, in case anybody around here isn't aware?
Oh, well, firstly, you can find me at Almighty Coasters on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and at Almighty Coaster on X. Plus, anytime I'm on bar chat or on Vash's channel as well too. You can see this content mostly. I'm a photographer by trade, so a lot of photography on roller coasters, kind of some behind the scenes and some updates on roller coaster construction and maintenance.
Gotcha.
There he is. There he is.
And what's up, Rob? So
I like photography is one of those things where I have a lot of respect for it. Because I know bad photography, but I'm not other than an iPhone. But every time I see really good photographers, I'm like, man, that is like some of these pictures people do. There's one guy on Twitter, I can't remember his handle, but he takes like gorgeous theme park pictures. I'm like, how in the world do you do that? But
it's a lot of fun, but it's a balancing act, because sometimes like I go to the park with OG and I was like, we just want to see everything and take some videos, and then I see people's cameras. I'm like, you know what, I need to bring my camera out, because like, you know, because like I see like certain shots and I'm like, I could take that. I want to do that. I want to see that.
I could see that. Especially like when you get to the dusk time and the light's really good and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Absolutely. Well, we do have a lot of discussion to talk about, but we're going to start off. I will say this: if you're in Florida, and right now it may have cooled off a little bit, but no AC in Florida is just kind of that's a non-starter. That's not a good thing, especially during a heat advisory where they said the heat index was up to 110 degrees is what it felt like, which at that point I would just say just stay inside. It's not worth going outside at that point. But the Wilderness Lodge, now I don't know if it's fixed yet or not. I haven't actually heard an update today, but as of yesterday, it had been about 5 days since Wilderness Lodge had lost air conditioning. At most, like it was resort wide, I believe. Boulder Ridge still had AC because that's a separate building, but they did bring in some mitigation efforts yesterday, some portable AC units they were hooking up, but still no AC. I don't know. I'm a handy guy. I don't know a lot about AC stuff. I would imagine this is probably some sort of power issue that they're dealing with, because I don't imagine all those air conditioners went out at the same time. But this seems like a mess. Like I've heard a lot of accounts of people saying like the information wasn't really forthcoming, and you're talking about a deluxe Disney resort without air conditioning during a heat advisory. That's not good.
No,
it's really not good at all. Sorry. Go ahead, OG, please.
No, I actually had a joke that's probably too inappropriate, so I'll pass it on to you, Vash. Sometimes you got to think about it before you say it, so maybe I shouldn't say it. So go ahead.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, you know, let's keep it clean around here.
Yes, folks, we only have high-class stuff on this show.
That's right. No, I've been keeping track of the story ever since it popped off, really, on June 18th right here, because it was so profound. It was so crazy. I was like, oh, my goodness gracious. What is actually going on right here? And yes, you were exactly right, Jared. The main structure right there of Wilderness Lodge, along with its various expansions and so forth, the restaurants included in there, and all of those rooms all down with no AC whatsoever right there. Now, we're thinking it's one of the cooling towers that provides all the air conditioning for this particular structure right here that originally went down. One, I believe, video on TikTok or maybe Instagram, somebody actually showed that they actually had to bring an emergency cooling tower in and set it up, which I didn't even know was possible. But according to the video, apparently it is. That hasn't completely remedied the issue. That's why you're seeing all those portable AC units just about everywhere right there. And we just had an update from Walt Disney World News today confirming that it is still ongoing. Now, fortunately, the rooms are relatively comfortable right now, which I think from Disney's perspective is going to be the prioritization for them, because they were doing a lot of comps. I mean, I was keeping track of multiple Reddit threads, which people were confirming, yeah, I got comp for 2 nights, got comp for 1 night, got comp for, 3 nights and so forth, depending on when they actually, booked, how long their stay was, etc. And this was a very busy weekend, because apparently a lot of people were wanting to get moved to other deluxe hotels, like, for example, Grand Californian, the Polynesian, the Contemporary, and that unfortunately wasn't the case for a lot of them. They were getting offers to move to like Art of Animation, Coronado Springs, Caribbean Beach, and it's just kind of like it's not necessarily in the same bracketry there when it comes to the pecking order of resorts, which was really kind of unfortunate to see. But really, from Disney's perspective, they didn't have the inventory available to move just about everybody to where they would otherwise want to go, and that's a really unfortunate thing here too. I mean, your vacation's essentially really upended here, right? Because we already have heat advisories in this area right here. To return to something as sweltering as a plus 80 degree room was really, really unfortunate. Also, too, people tried to say, okay, let's go ahead and open the windows and all that. No screens. So even that wasn't a reprieve either. Oh,
I don't think opening windows would help in what feels like 110 degrees outside. I think that would actually make the situation worse, maybe. I did see some people talking about and I know this from being in the from the Midwest, the redneck AC you can make where you take a box fan and kind of you can make some things. Some people were doing that inside their rooms, but I could not imagine going into the theme parks all day, then going back to your hotel without AC. Like that seems just miserable to deal with. And I mean, it's one thing if you lose AC in your house, that sucks. But yeah, I don't recall a situation like this where AC has gone out resort wide for as long as this one has. Like it probably has happened before, but I just don't recall in my memory of this being something that's happened anywhere that I've heard of.
Not that I've seen in my research here. I mean, this is a very long outage right here. Perhaps they went unreported previously, but this is very large. Also, too, I think the cheapest room on property here was about $650, all the way up to $1,200. So it was not a cheap expedition for a lot of people actually visiting there. And most unfortunate were DVC members who couldn't get the full value of their points returned to them. That's no good either right there. If you had a reservation at Whispering Canyon or the various dining accommodations there, the reservation portal for those actually were taken down there as well in order to not have people show up and then have these problems also occur. So this was, financially speaking, it's a big hit for Disney. That's why they were trying, every single measure they possibly could to get, air conditioning back on, or at least make it pleasant enough so that maybe they wouldn't have to comp people back. But just a terrible situation all around.
Yeah. I mean, this is a situation where it's like, things happen, right? Like tech issues happen, right? But it's all about, for me personally, it's all about like the response and how the company steps up and takes care of their guests, right? So it seems like in this case, it's kind of hit or miss. Like they're kind of making moves and kind of making it good, but at the same time, they're kind of falling short. Like they're letting people kind of rebook at like hotels that are not as comparable, right? Things like that. So yeah, it's unfortunate all around. Hopefully they get this thing fixed though. I mean, it's one thing to have no AC out here in California, but in Florida with that humidity and how hot it gets, that is crazy intense. So
yeah, especially if you're not used to it. Like if you're visiting and you're not used to this Florida heat, you just come into this with no AC. I can't even imagine. You just feel like you walked into a wall of humidity, because it is kind of what it is in the morning. The minute you walk outside, you're like, and I'm sweaty, like right away.
I think that's the main thing. It's airflow more so than to make things comfortable. Because like I said, I'm in SoCal, I'm in the Valley, I'm used to heat, right? But then if you go in your room and there's no airflow and it's humid, and you get no like repeat for that. And I think that's why they were opening their windows, because like you just want airflow. And I think that's even worse because it's almost suffocating.
And I don't think
ceiling fans either.
I was getting ready to say that. I don't think these rooms have ceiling fans either. I know Caribbean Beach. Yeah, Vash and I are on the same page. I know Caribbean Beach has them in some rooms, because we stayed there a couple weeks ago and I was like, oh, a ceiling fan. That's nice. But yeah, most of the time you don't have that. So if you don't have AC in there, you are just it's kind of a sauna, really. You just sit there and just sweat a bit.
And there were some reports that Disney was offering fans, right? To various rooms and so forth, but I don't really, I don't know how many of them they actually distributed. I don't even know the quality or age or all of that. A lot of people saying that they had to deliver fans to their resort or to their rooms in order to supplement, because like Almighty Coaster said, you just couldn't get the airflow in there, and it was just really bad if you wanted to go ahead and try to sleep there. This was a very brutal, tough situation right here. I'm sure the recovery was astronomical, but this should never really happen, right? And we're unclear as to how this may have occurred. Some people are speculating that maybe the freeze had something to do with it, or some kind of weakening of some pipes and so forth. I'm not quite sure, but you have to have some kind of contingency for something like this.
Do we know what
this being
a?
Go ahead, please. Alan.
So, do we know what system they use? Is it like a chiller with chilled water? Is it?
Yeah, it's like a cooling tower or a chilling tower. That's kind of the way that air conditioning is delivered to this specific property.
So I'm thinking for me, it sounds like it's a pump issue, where since it was able to cool too. So I think like multiple pumps probably fried. So then it's not able to move the water around. And I know that's
perhaps. Yeah.
But that's my speculation.
Yeah, see, I'm very handy, but one thing I don't know is AC units. Like that seems like a whole weird science to me. I'm just like, I don't know, but I can put Freon in my car, but I don't know about like when it comes to home air conditioning. That's when I tap out. I'm just like,
well,
okay.
I know home air conditioning and commercials slightly different. I've worked on commercial buildings like that too. So, and I don't work on the AC, but I work on the water to the AC and everything with the chillers. So I know.
I see.
So, and I think that's like the part about it too. It's complicated because you have guys who just do the water with the water distribution, and then the HVAC guys, the HVAC guys as well too. So then it's like, okay, the AC goes down. Okay, I'm gonna call HVAC guy. Now it's like, okay, now guess what? We need to call a plumber to go do certain things as well. So it seems like it's a horrible fix, but it seems like maybe like the pumps seem to be like the main issue. If I'm speculating.
I've known of some Reedy Creek Energy Services guys in the past, and they complain all the time about the maintenance issues that they are plagued with all the time. You know.
Yeah, that's something across property we've seen in recent years of some of this maintenance stuff really biting them. The sewage stuff that's happened at Magic Kingdom a couple of times. Stuff like this. I mean, that is one thing. When you live in Florida, it's like you got to do your maintenance on your AC because it's when it gets really hot is when they will go out, and then good luck getting somebody to come out for not like 2 weeks. I mean, that's the bad thing when it does go out. But yeah, I mean, I would be very curious how much did they lose in all this, like comped rooms and all that stuff, and how like what is the actual reason that this whole thing happened. But it's very unfortunate. And Greg here says they could have moved him to Universal Hotel.
Good idea.
We don't have room on Disney, but how about the Helios? That sounds nice, but I guess they could have paid for the rooms that did that, but probably not. But.
I think at a point you kind of have to.
I mean, if it was me, there's no way I'm dealing with this. Like, I'm just being like, I'll go stay, even if it's a Motel 6 or something. It's like, if something that's got air conditioning, I wouldn't even bother with it. But obviously, like when some people fly in, they don't have the ability to really be as nimble when they're on property, maybe. Or
yes.
And there were some people were saying, and I agree with you, OG. It's like that some of the information was a little cagey. I was watching some of the Reddit forums and people on Twitter were saying they weren't really getting updates unless they went and asked specifically what was going on. And I don't think that's great either. Even if you don't have good news, at least keep people up to date of like actually what's happening.
But I think we talked about it earlier too, where like that's customer service, and that's kind of going out the window as well too, because and I know they kind of don't train for that, but it's like, okay, hey, we still want to give people updates, and even if you don't go to every person, you want it readily available so they could go down and see what's going on. And I think we talked about it in a different video. I think it was on Vash's channel. Just Disney's customer service is just going away and it's little things like that.
Yeah, it's not what it once was. I will put it that way, even from 10 years ago, I would say. Go ahead, Vash.
Well, thank you. I'll go to OG very quickly. Get to me. No, I this is one of the pitfalls or downfalls of Disney having so many different verticals, right? So, like for Marriott, for example, pretty much they only do customer service, guest accommodations, etc. Right? That's all they do. And so I've stayed on Marriott properties before where it's like, okay, if there's like an update system in place in order to get the word out, they'll do it via text, right? That way they can kind of keep everybody informed and all of that, as Ellen was describing right there. Obviously, I think that function here is missing. So people, have to go to the front desk all the time, and that puts a lot of pressure, obviously, on the cast members looking to be as attentive as possible in a situation like this. So not fantastic all around. This is one of the gaps here. But please go ahead, OG. Yeah,
no, you're right, Alan, Vash. You guys talked about like the customer service with Disney, and look, I there are still a lot of great cast members, no doubt about it. But I do believe Disney overall has taken a hit since the pandemic. I think they probably lost a lot of people with that whole lockdown stuff, especially out here in California. We were closed for a lot longer, and I think they were desperate to sort of fill these positions, and in doing that, I think the standard for what they used to have went down, and I think it hurt them. I think it really has. So I think they're going to get back out of that. I do believe eventually they'll get back to where they were before, but I do believe that pandemic was really a pivotal moment where we really saw that customer service take a hit. So unfortunately.
Well, in Orlando, it was that as well, but also probably the last 10 years, especially, you got a lot of the college program that they really became reliant upon. And don't get me wrong, I know some people that are in a college program before, and it's like, not saying they're all bad, but you do get some people in there that are just, it's just a summer thing for them.
Right.
And I think you can definitely tell the difference. Like, you can tell the cast members that have been there for a bit that kind of enjoy their job versus the ones that are just, hey, what time do I get off? And I think things like that, when you're talking about a destination like Disney, where what really made it become the destination that it has become, a lot of it was the customer service, the things that the magic that you always say. And I think as time has gone on, that has eroded it. And honestly, like I do hope it gets better, but really from my perspective, that is something that has to be like a top down intentional thing. Like it has to be like, it doesn't just accidentally happen. Now, who knows if that's something they're rebuilding, but a lot of this goes into it. But I mean, in a situation like that, especially spending as much money as people are spending to go on a week-long vacation, they're staying 5 nights here, they're easily dropping thousands of dollars. So say at a hotel like this, the very least you could get is actually like, hey, what is happening here? Like, can I make accommodations? And I do think they were prioritizing, like, I saw some throw a woman that was pregnant. They moved her, elderly, like those are small kids. I understand prioritizing those, and I have no issue with that. But it's still the people in between. It's like, it may not be life-threatening, but it's also, you're at a really nice hotel that has 0 air conditioning, and if you don't have any word on when's it going to be fixed, that definitely changes your vacation plans.
Absolutely.
It does. And not to get too like TMI here, but like, what about like like a couple, like this romantic getaway? Like, okay, we're going to stay here and we're going to have this romantic getaway. Things happen right in the room, but like, how do you even do any
little steamy because of other reasons?
Right. And it's already steamy when you walk in, you haven't even started yet. so it's already musty, right? It's already like, oh man, this is hot.
Yeah, it's like, I don't
you go to the Motel 6.
I mean, there you go. Exactly.
But I think also, and maybe, and I'm not in there, but I do see from what a lot of cast members are saying now, especially after pandemic, they can't make certain choices and decisions and think outside the box. And like what we're saying, if you know that, hey, if it's still going down, Disney should probably be a little bit more creative in saying, hey, guess what?
Yep.
We can't get you in a comparable hotel, but we're taking care of this one. And unfortunately, we have to put you in this hotel for now. And then you could come back later. And I think even if they were able to do that, there would be less complaints about it. Because this happened, but Disney handled it appropriately. And then eventually we're going to come back. And you're going to get those people that they're going to say, well, we weren't planning to come back to Florida. So like, this isn't good for me. But if it shows that, hey, this happened, we're setting you up right now, and then we're setting you up for the future as well too. And I think that would be a lot better. And then people, they want to be as anxious and asking for updates, because then they're feeling like they're getting taken care of.
I love
that's what's missing right now. But I do feel like certain people can't make those decisions, even if it's at like a lower level. And I think cast members before, they were able to do that.
Some people actually said on Reddit, to Alan's point here, that was an issue. Previous cast members who actually worked this resort were they were describing that they were very restricted in how to do guest recovery, which is not fantastic. But more than that, though, I think Thomas Moslem was pretty candid when he was at that Disney California Adventure Media Summit back in February, right? And actually saying, to OG's point, hey, look, listen, we actually did lose a lot of people during the effects of the pandemic right there, and we had to shorten the onboarding process for our cast members, and they were looking to overcome those issues as it relates to Disneyland Resort. Now, Thomas Moslem, he's not just the president of the DLR anymore, but now he's the chairman of the Parks Division, and so hopefully he has that kind of same mindset and feedback that he gleaned from the DLR, and can kind of spread that kind of thinking around to the various points on here. Right, it kind of starts from the top down. Hopefully, we can spread that a little bit, and maybe shore up some of these issues, because I think the way that this was handled right here was not to anyone's liking. I saw a lot of people like Tom Bricker, for example, really kind of like say like, hey, look, this is going to happen. This shouldn't happen, but in the event that it does, this should have been handled better, which this wasn't.
Yep, I agree. Well, I can speak to, my dad was a bus driver, and he even noted that the traditions training that you get now, or at least back in 2019, was much shorter than it used to be. I think they used to do like week or 2 weeks of actual traditions. Instead of like, listen, in Florida, that'll be a selling point, undoubtedly. Like ice cold AC, and they're like, I'm in.
Oh, what's up?
But I think the traditions training has gotten much more condensed, and so you don't. And that used to be the thing that was really like, you felt like the cast members understood the lineage of all this stuff and the history and really how it was different. And I think it's a small thing, but it's still something that's important. And Wizard here said in the chat, his traditions was a week in 2017. So I think it's even less than that now. So that keeps getting shrunk a little bit. There's been, and I agree. I think the pandemic, I know for the bus drivers, I mean, a lot of them, my dad was one, they got furloughed and then a lot of them didn't come back.
Yeah.
So then they got kind of spotted having to, get bus drivers trained. Cause it's not like you just get a guy, you got to train them and you got to get their licenses and everything like that. So it's, I do agree. I think that's something that's still lingering from good old COVID, or as OG. Well, I don't know if OG is going to say his phrase.
Yeah. Whenever I say, I call it the pandy, right?
Dude, people get so upset at you for that. I don't know why.
I don't get it. I was saying the pandy like during that era, because when you said pandemic back then, YouTube can come down on you, right? Now they don't. Yeah, so I was calling it the pandy, and I just kind of got used to calling it the pandy. I'm telling you, we got comments, Alan. Like people were like, "So mad, how dare you call it the pandy? That's so disrespectful."
Because you're making light of a situation that was very traumatic, and it needs to be taken very, very seriously.
Yeah,
it changed us all. How dare you, sir?
I mean, I was changed. I don't even know how I was changed. Yeah. I mean, if you look back, I really wasn't on YouTube during that time back then, but even on our podcast, it was like anytime you would talk about it, you're just like, I'm just not going to talk about this anymore. Like, it's just like it's like walking into a room and everyone's got a knife and they're just like, like we're going, it's like, okay, I'm just going to chill. But
hey, we got Mr. Webba in the house. He said guest-facing cast members get 1 day traditions orientation and 2 days of step into the magic guest-facing training. I believe I read hotel cast members will receive additional training.
So 3 days for park guests, or sorry, for park guest members, and then then maybe about a week with hotel guests. And I think I think the pandemic, accelerated our I guess the dissolution of, I call them soft skills, and it's really just a lot of soft. They're soft skills that they're not quantifiable, and unfortunately, a lot of stuff now, we're like, what can you quantify what you did? And it's not, so it's like, oh, like if did you sell this much? Did you fix this many problems? Did you do this? Not like, okay, how many situations did you de-escalate before they became problems? And since you can't quantify that, people, they don't we don't put as much value to it as anymore. And I think now, especially in customer service driven career fields, you're seeing it. And unfortunately, Disney, they're getting the brunt of it because they were the leader. And so since they were the leader and the bar was so high, and people are seeing it fall, and so they're getting like a lot of the brunt of of just saying, hey, you're failing. And I think it's all over. It's not just Disney. It is everywhere.
Yeah, and I know there's a lack of incentive to extend those traditions out right there, which were so important to those soft skills. I think you're so exactly right there, Alan, for sure, because they've had so much attrition, they've had so much turnover, that it's kind of like, okay, well, we don't want to necessarily invest this much into every single cast member if they're just going to bail, right? So that's a thing. But I will say, during that symposium back in February, they did say that they were adding a day to traditions training for all cast members. I don't know when it's going to start, but that's what they at least said back in that time period. So we can hope for maybe four days, right? For basically every single cast member out there, which would help. But obviously, it's a stark difference between that and a week.
Yeah. I think eventually we will get there because, like I said, I don't think it's just a Disney issue. And I think before, when we put value on that, but like because I said I write evaluations for people who work under me, right? And it's not sexy to say, oh, they're able to help this, that, and they're mitigating a bunch of stuff in there because they can't quantify that. They want to know how much money did you save? How much did you do this? You know, like how many things have you recovered? And so that's what they put their focus on, and then the soft skills kind of go away.
It's also spreadsheet management going into customer service too. And I will agree, like soft skills is one way to put it. I always you have people that have, I kind of call it social lubricant. I don't know if that's a good phrase. That's what I've always called it, where you have, you know, an interaction with somebody, and some people just make things a little bit more, like more bristly than they need to be. You know, like it's not a big situation. It's like this could be easily, you know, and guests will do that a lot. I'm talking about people that work there, but it's like, you know, things that could just be an easy solution seem to be a little bit more difficult. And not even just Disney. Like, you're right. It's like everywhere. You're like, this isn't that big a deal. Can we just take care of this sort of thing? And I think some of it is interpersonal community, like especially with the younger generations. I think there is something there with interpersonal communication of just, I made a comment the other day, but anytime I go over to DreamWorks Land and Universal and you go to that, our daughter always wants one of those bro cones things they have there. Every time I go to that stand, I'm never greeted and being like, hey, welcome. What can I get you? They just look at you. And I'm like, I guess I talk now. And then, you know, it's just weird. Like, and I think this has kind of become more commonplace. Like, I'm not necessarily like, I haven't seen it a lot at Disney in terms of people not actually greeting you, but you do see that more just day-to-day life now.
Oh no, I agree with you. Like at work, I was in the section, and I said, and I was, you know, pretty much I do a bunch of HR stuff, right? And I had to tell my younger, you know, my younger subordinates, I was like, hey, when someone comes in here, you greet them, you find out what they want. And it's funny because now when you have two 18-year-olds like that, and I have one that's saying, hey, like, what do you need? Like, you know, like, how can I help you? And then they don't, and then the people, when they're getting help, they don't know how to say like what they need. They say, I'm here to talk to this person. And I was like, no, what do you need? And it is a funny, it is a funny conversation to look at, but like I had to teach them, like, no, you need to greet them and ask them, you know, what do they need? How can you help them? Because even for them, it wasn't common sense.
Yeah.
Like when someone walks into the area and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing here?
No, and a lot of that, you're absolutely right, Alan. And a lot of that common sense is missed on a lot of people, you know, and especially in this day and age. And it's kind of crazy too. I was actually on the phone with my cell phone carrier not too long ago, right? And I'm talking to this lady who I thought was really nice. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is really good customer service. I'm like, dude, she's killing it. She's crushing it, you know? And I usually end the call with any customer service person like, okay, what was your name? You've been really helpful, right? And I ask her, hey, what's your name? And she goes, I am an AI bot. I'm like, what?
Dude, like, I was gonna ask for those digits. Now I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. Like, what's going on over here? But it was so realistic. Like the breathing and everything. I was like, no way.
It's gotten eerily good. Like they'll add the breathing pauses. Like they'll even say ums. Like it's kind of crazy how much that has actually like leaped in even the past like year.
I'm telling you,
it's
crazy.
Well, OG's reaction was very sad.
You were the chosen one.
I know, exactly. That's exactly it, dude. That's exactly it. And I'll tell you this, that our intro here on the show is not AI. That's really
no, we were actually driving up.
Absolutely.
Vash was really worried about something in the sky. It's cool, you know. And yeah, we hired a film crew. We did all that stuff.
I thought we had to bend over for the shot.
Yeah, he was trying to get in the camera shot. That's all.
Keep changing the story.
By the way, there was one I did where we were in the car and like OG and I were facing one way and Vash was like in a seat facing the other way. And I'm like, this is a different type of car that I've ever seen before. So I just didn't use it, but it's got some quirks to it. But
real quick before we move on, we have got to do a GTA 6 theme.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah. That's on the list. I was figuring maybe, we can do it multiple times. That game's not going to come out for who knows. I mean, they keep delaying it, so who knows when it comes out. But I think that game could impact theme park attendance, honestly. And like,
they could.
I mean, honestly, that game may be so big. I could see movie theaters getting impacted by that.
Yeah.
People are like, well, actually, I'm just going to play this game for the next 6 months. But we do have another, or no, excuse me, not another, but we have a 10 from Il Magic. What's up, Il Magic? Says, hey, how's it going, guys? Man, I've always been curious to get a room at that hotel. Is it worth the price? Are giraffes really creeping up on your balcony? So this is Wilderness Lodge. The ones that have giraffes is the Animal Kingdom. which I've said it both. I love Wilderness Lodge might be my favorite Disney resort. I love that place, especially at Christmas.
But not right now.
Not right now. Imagine when the heat comes back on, that lobby with that high ceiling. Oh my gosh, it's going to take like a month to get that thing cooled down. But Animal Kingdom Lodge, we were there. We stayed there probably 12 years ago at this point. Wow. It's kind of cool. Like, it's a novel to think. We were there for like 3 or 4 nights. But it is, you just go out for in the morning, you just see giraffes and animals wandering around. Like, it is kind of cool. Kids would love it. Like, they get to go out there and this is before we had kids, but yeah, you go out there and just see giraffes are hanging out there. I know they got zebras. I don't think they have any lions roaming around there, but yeah, it's cool. But I think Wilderness Lodge, you can find some better pricing than probably what they have right now when it's really busy, but I do love the resort. It's fantastic. And at Christmas time, it's hard to beat Wilderness Lodge, undoubtedly.
Yeah. I'm a vibes guy. Like, I love the vibes of all these parks and stuff. I'd probably go crazy at that Animal Kingdom Lodge, man.
It's cool.
It seems like it's just all vibes. Yeah.
It's good.
If you like Animal Kingdom, you would love Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Okay.
So I think it would be a great fit for you. It'd be all vibes for you. Just going to both places. But
hey, I'll be like, I'm not leaving. I'm gonna stay on my balcony, dude. I'm good.
Parks, like, no, I don't really. I just
like, I live here now.
I live here now. Exactly.
This is now my home.
This is now where I reside. So I don't know what to tell you guys. But all right, let's move on and talk about something completely, I'm sure nobody's have an opinion on and not going to be controversial by any means at all. And this is going to be a very visual representation on a few things here. And that is the Universal Kids Resort. Let me bring this up here. So this has gotten some attention, obviously. Now, I will say all this out the outright. My opinion on this is probably going to be one where people are going to get mad at me because I kind of see from both perspectives on this, but I will elaborate. But they had media previews, and a lot of aspects of this park are being absolutely destroyed on social media. In fact, this has gone beyond just theme park social media. This has gone mainstream. You've got like the New York Post talking about this. You've got some of these bigger accounts on X talking about this. And really a lot of this is, I mean, you look at this, like very sparse theming, a lot of concrete, not a lot of shade in some of this stuff. And now I will say, I think the Del Mar area actually looks pretty good from what I've seen. And granted, I haven't been to this park yet, but so this is getting panned online.
Go back one? I'm sorry. Back one? Was that the Rikers area?
I believe it's the Rikers area. Oh, God. You're good. You get to go play in the jungle area.
Pretty sure this is the Alcatraz area. So
there we go.
You can't stop the Rock.
Listen, I'm not against the Rock area with Sean Connery voicing it. I'm not against that, but so this has got a lot of people talking online about this. Now this park, little context, it's in Frisco, Texas. It's not in Florida. It's not in California. It is designed to be a regional theme park for children. I believe Universal said 3 to 8 years old. So a very narrow range for the ages. And I think, and we'll go into this, but I think the approach to this being a regional park and also the restrictions that the local government did put on them for this, which, by the way, if that's the case, don't build a park there. But I think a lot of this led to this. But what are your guys' thoughts on the initial thoughts here on the Universal Kids Resort?
I'll just say this. I think like I didn't go into this park thinking like, okay, it has to be Epic Universe, because that's unrealistic. If people thought this was going to be a follow-up to Epic, like that's ridiculous, right? But here's the thing, like honestly, like I mean, Universal has shown that they are a top contender in this theme park space. They're number 2 to Disney. I mean, and sometimes they even surpass Disney in terms of quality, right? So when they do anything, I expect it to at least be the best of that niche, right? So if you're going to build this niche, which is the Peppa Pig, Legoland, Sesame Street kind of niche, right, for this demo, I expect Universal's version to be the best out of that genre, so to speak. And it's not. It doesn't measure up to Legoland, not even close. And it's comparable to Peppa, but like this is Universal though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this should be blowing out Peppa Pig and Legoland and all those other competitors out of the water. There should be no competition here. And again, I'm not saying it needed to be like this crazy experience. Now, to your point, Jared, I do believe, like, yeah, I heard that same thing with Texas or Frisco. They were really putting restrictions, but no one forced Universal to sign that deal.
Now, that I completely agree with there. And I was going to say, I did talk to somebody inside Universal just to get clarification, because those are things I had heard. And the Frisco government there, they couldn't build anything over a certain height. I forget what the height requirement is. No fireworks, very limited hours. And they were very adamant that they did not want this to be some sort of like major tourist destination, which I kind of put that as, you're starting you're building a football team and you're like, we don't want to win championships, but we don't want to be last place every year. So like, we're going to draft okay. We don't want to bring any really great players here. That's a weird place to operate from. And I completely agree with you. If that is the case and they hampered him that much on this, then don't build here for that reason. Right. If there's something you missed or whatever the reason is here. But I also, just to point out, when you're talking 3 to 8 years old, I think a lot of this is people, and I have kids in that age range, and I've seen better theming, like Silver Dollar City has a kid area that I think is better than this. I've seen lots of better kid areas. But I think it's part of it is like the expectation. I do think some people were thinking it's Universal, so it's going to be this like, you just had Epic open. It's a totally different type of park. And so I think the expectations are a little bit off with this, but at the same time, I do agree with you, like color in some of these places. Like some of this stuff looks like the LA River in different areas. But I will even say as well, like you really can't realistically implant like 30-foot trees into a theme park either. So a lot of this stuff does need to build up. But I see both sides of this. I think the ultimate test is going to see what do kids actually think about this place ultimately. It's for, I suppose it's just for the regional area of Frisco, Texas, and like 4 hours around it. That's kind of the whole point of it, I guess.
Right. And what I was kind of told, like for years, is that this was going to be sort of like the ambassador, the jumping off point for people of this area to kind of get a taste of like Universal.
Yeah.
Now that's cool. But like, if you're going to be like that first impression to the Universal brand, you got to put your best foot forward though. Because if I don't know anything about Universal and I come here and I'm like, oh, this is what they do. Because I mean, I can get this at Six Flags. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to go to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like or I can get this at my local regional park. I can go to Knott's or whatever. Like, I feel like this should have been something where, like, even though it's a smaller kind of concept, it's impressive enough where the people of Frisco are like, wow, Universal really does it. Like, I've never seen a kid park on this level before. Even Disney, right? When Disney got into television animation, nobody was expecting the television animation to be on par with the movie animation. But the television animation just had to be top tier for television though. Right? That's kind of what I see this as, is like, it doesn't have to be Epic Universe. And that's unrealistic. It just has to be as good as.
Oh, he muted himself.
It doesn't have to be Epic Universe, but it does have to be as good or better though than its competition in this same sort of niche. And I don't think it's doing that. But again, all hope is not lost. I'm very bullish on Universal. I think we're going to talk about Fast and Furious later on. I think they've done a lot of great stuff in Orlando. They are really, really doing great stuff. I do believe though, they've gotten a little sloppy because I think they're trying to expand their market share. And I think with this park, and I think even with Horrors Unleashed, which is having a hard time even kind of selling tickets, I think they've gotten a little sloppy with the expansion of their theme park brand, with the market share expansion. I think it's important to expand your market share, but you still have to do it in a quality way. You don't want to be Hanna-Barbera where you're churning out a bunch of cartoons and stuff that are like really cheap just for the sake of having a bunch of stuff out there. You still have to make a quality product. And so I think with this and the Horrors Unleashed thing, I think that's, they got to tighten up their game here a little bit with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Florida, Orlando, Japan, they're crushing it. But this ancillary side stuff, they got to focus a little bit more on the quality, in my opinion. But what say you, Alan? What do you think, buddy?
I guess I'm gonna go the different side, where I think people are being too harsh on this park. I think we're looking at it because I said we're in SoCal, we're spoiled. You go to Orlando, you're spoiled. Having family out in Texas, and actually being in the Frisco area, and then knowing what this park is trying to do, I think it's their main thing is too because in Texas you go to Six Flags, and then after that you take your yearly trip to one of the Disney parks. This one, they're trying to be like, hey, guess what? There's another park out there. It's called Universal. So now we're gonna go to Universal Kids. So now you could go to Universal Hollywood, Universal Florida. I think some of the stuff that Frisco was doing did not help this park at all.
Yeah.
Because I think, like I said, they can't have anything nighttime. They have traffic restrictions. They have traffic management. So like if they get over like 20,000 visitors like a day too as well, like that, they have to like shut it down. There's a lot of stuff because Frisco, it's kind of like they try to be like Beverly Hills, but they're not Beverly Hills. But but like kind of how Beverly Hills stopped that subway for 42 years. That's what they're trying to do with this park.
And they even said a lot of the residents in the area, they were really adamantly against this. And a lot of the stuff, the restrictions came online because of the pushback to having this park built here.
But I'll ask the question too. Texans, they would go to this park over Legoland in the long run because this is right in their backyard. And so if you're hopping on a flight, because that's besides Legoland prices and everything, and they said if I'm in Texas and I'm going to California, I'm not going to Legoland. I might even go to SeaWorld. I'm going to Disney.
Yeah.
So and then it's like, and then do I know driving after 3 hours to go to Legoland? Absolutely not. And I think that's what this park. I think that's what this park represents. I do wish, like I said, I do wish the theming was better and everything else as well too. But like Frisco, they don't want this to be epic level theme or even good theming because even if I look at it, I think what's the park in Iowa, like Adventureland, which is like a brand, no, or Lost Island, sorry, Lost Island. It's a really, really great looking park, and that out themes this, and you wish coming because there's Universal on this, so people are like, what the heck, it should be higher. It should be higher theming, but that's not what this park is aiming for as well. And I think like Legoland, like their upper age limit is like 12 years old. This one's going to 8. So even though they have an overlapping demographic, Legoland is more all encompassing. And then I will say this: when Legoland in California first opened, like it looked a lot like this park.
Well, and and I'll kick it to Vash. I just want to say before I forget, because my ADH brain will forget this. So I agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of people looking at this, and I do think it's weird that Universal brought in massive social media followings for a park that's supposed to be a regional theme park, because then it's like, well, who are you really appealing to here? Like, you should have brought in families locally of Frisco to come check this out if that's who you're really wanting to come here.
Yeah,
and also you have people without kids commenting through an adult lens on this. And I'll tell you right now, like, and I know a couple people commented here. You had Sorbic Sorceress said, so I follow a lot of people that took their kids there because they put out content to the same demographic as my daughter. They all showed kids that were enjoying themselves. And then, I don't know if Heike Nuki World Tour, I may have got that wrong, says, I know people who are local who went with small kids and they loved it. For us, like, we showed our son, our daughter's she's 9, she's going to be 10. So she'll still have fun, but it's not in her age range. But our son's right there in the middle of all this. And we showed him pictures and just see, what do you think about this? And he was like really excited for it. So I think if it's if the kids of the age it's intended for enjoy this, it doesn't really matter what a massive social media, like, it's going to get panned online. Okay. But are the kids enjoying it? Is it serving the purpose they want? At the end of the day, that is really all that really matters about a park like this. But I will say as well, like, I do think this probably suffered some budget cuts. It could be for some of the expansions that they were doing. But Vash, what do you think about all this?
No, I actually agree with you. I think this park did suffer some budget cuts, and probably, OG brilliantly pointed out right there, the Horror Unleashed, fiasco. It's kind of like, how much do we necessarily want to invest in these projects in which we can really lose our heads on if these things don't actually pan out? So I think they limited their investment, maybe even limited it further, and that's where you get to this point in which we see today. in which I believe the overall investment for this was a little less than $500 million, which, by the way, that's not too far off from what DCA was originally budgeted back in 2001. So it just goes to show like how disparate these things have become nowadays. Yeah, and they might have been looking at it too, saying, hey, look, if we don't necessarily go with all-out theming, then, hey, we can also flip this territory if we need to get out of it as well. So that might have been a consideration there as well. When I look at this, obviously this is not the greatest showcase of Universal's product, I don't think. Now, obviously, this park was budgeted for a certain, demographic, obviously, and with a certain price tag attached to those tickets, right? And that's really going to determine what you actually build, what you actually fabricate, and so forth. Because you got to think, right? You go into Buena Vista Street at Disney California Adventure, for example. You have a custom light fixture. You don't go down to Lowe's to replace that light fixture if it breaks. You have to fabricate an entire new one, right? And so why we see maybe theme park investments like this one not as, bedazzling as maybe we necessarily expect. One of those is the long-term investment in order to maintain some of these products, right? Now, that being said, though, we're starting to see like that LA River thing that you were talking about, Jared. We're starting to see paint applied in various locations, right? So I think they're kind of hearing the feedback a little bit right there. Also, too, shade structures I think would have gone a long way in various places here. I know they put like places that you can actually hit a button and it'll spray you off, which is pretty cool. I would appreciate that, and the Florida parks actually, because I think that's a pretty good idea. However, I think shade structures could have gone a long way here. A lot of young plants, obviously it's not going to look too good out the outset right there. Like you said, Jared, they didn't do themselves any favors by having big social media presences come here and showcase this park to expand a demographic that might not actually resonate with a lot of the things that are on offer for this thing. So maybe not the greatest mix here of elements, turning this into something that I think there were some people out there who thought that this was going to be bigger and grander, especially off that Epic Universe high right there. But for the people who actually knew what this was going into it, I would say the expectations were about right. I mean, some places just don't look that great, right? I think Jim Shaw was very critical of this. Some others, Bill Snetti, I think as well online, was a little bit critical of this. And I can't necessarily argue with them either. So I think this, assuming this is going to be successful, this is going to take time to mature, as Alan beautifully pointed out there. And when it does, we might be looking at something very, 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 very good here. On the restriction side of it, right? A lot of that's going to come down to how well Universal was actually selling this park, right? OG, we all know the Westcott story, right? As soon as the city of Anaheim actually saw the 300-foot ball and stuff like that, and all the lights and all of that, they were like horrified, right? And that's when California Adventure really was birthed, because they couldn't sell the city on their concept. This goes to Universal just a little bit as well, saying, hey, look, this is not going to be something that's going to destroy your city. This will be something that maybe will improve it. And if you can't necessarily sell it to the city, whatever restrictions that come, or the restrictions that you have, would have liked to have seen dark rides and so forth. But I don't even know if they were willing to invest that much into it. Maybe in the future they were, but we'll see. This is a developing situation for sure.
Now, let me bring up a comment from Remy D, because I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'm not too privy on the money end of it, and you guys are way more schooled in this stuff. But Remy D says budget cuts. This park cost $550 million. Six Flags sold 7 parks for less than $350 million. Peppa Pig was made for $40 million. Is that a fair point? I mean, half $1 billion.
Six Flags being sold was, it's kind of a fire sale with Six Flags a little bit. I think when you're constructing something today, look at inflation. It is going to cost more to build stuff today than it was even 7 years ago. So I think so. I don't know the cost. I don't know all that stuff, but also Legoland, I believe, or Peppa Pig was already attached to Legoland. So they've already had the land. So I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But I think that there's definite criticism about this, and I agree with you, Vash. It's I don't let Universal off the hook if they're like, well, the city wouldn't let us, then don't build it here. Like, go to a place that, but it is a very weird thing to build something that you're just trying to appeal to a very localized demographic when you have the name of Universal. And we've talked about Universal taking chances. They're trying to get market share. This is one of those things where maybe this is the first time they're noticing like they're getting more notoriety, and now they're going to see the backlash that can come from that whenever you don't deliver on something according to expectations, and they're just not really prepared for it. Could be part of it. Al, you were going to talk. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I think, well, and the thing is too, we have to know a lot of this cost is also based on, unfortunately, I think Universal, they overbuild things as well too. So so a lot of this cost is building the streets, building all the infrastructure going there too. So
they have to cover,
So I think that they had to cover a lot more than Peppa Pig did in Dallas, because I've been to that park. I've been to Peppa Pig in Dallas as well too. So I think building the parks, they were in a different spot. And like we said, Six Flags selling parks, they're trying to dump their portfolio, and two, these parks are already built, and they're in different places as well too. So I think like the land in Frisco is just worth a lot more than honestly the land at Six Flags St. Louis.
Well, I mean, and also too the viability, right? I mean, if you have a property that can't necessarily pay for itself, at least under a big brand like Six Flags, then obviously that's going to be a little bit different of a valuation than setting up, stakes in Frisco, getting all that transportation infrastructure all built, brand new construction, getting that all set out. I mean, it's just going to be a different valuation. Look, OG, back me up here. You go to various parts of LA, you get a 2,500 square foot house. That might cost you $1 million, $1.2 million, right? You building the Palisades right now, looking at the price of that construction, or maybe Malibu, right? When you're setting up on the beach right there, you might put $3 million in the foundation and not even get a house by that point. Versus you go $1 million in Utah, that might get you a mansion, right? So it's
in Arkansas, you're gonna have a whole compound in Arkansas.
right. So again, these things are valued so differently. Just to say $1 amount here is worth another, a similar dollar amount here. That's just not maybe taking in all of the information that we know about these disparate properties.
That's a fair point. Fair point all around.
I mean, it's an interesting conversation because at the same time, like, I think you have in my opinion, it's layered. Like, it's easy to look at this. Like, sure, if this opened inside of Epic Universe, you'd be like, what the crap is this? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's in a brand new $8 billion theme park. This looks like something you have in your backyard. But when you're talking about the age range, the area, the restrictions, which
Epic
again,
Universe needs that.
Yeah, like that's on Universal for agreeing to do that. So that doesn't let Universal off the hook. If that is the reason for this, that's also like, well, you're the one that put yourself in that spot. Now, all that being said, we've also seen too where things get panned on social media, and I say all the time, social media is not real life. This could be fine. Like I don't know, and the approach they have with these parks, and like OG was saying, is to introduce kids to the brand where they supposedly, I think Mark Woodbury said, to graduate up to the bigger parks. Maybe this will serve that purpose, or they'll probably, I mean, again, theme parks never really done. They'll probably improve it over time and things like that. So I don't really know if they're looking at these things having to be profitable, or if they're thinking about these things more long term. I think that's an unknown quantity. But like somebody was saying that their kid rode the this ride that's getting panned, and he rode it like 4 times because he loved it. So like kids, what they expect and what they want out of a theme park using imagination is going to be different than a 35-year-old man going to Disney World and Universal Studios, Orlando. There's just different expectations. And so I think it is a little nuanced. I can totally see the points, and I agree with the points. But again, if you're like building a team and you're like, hey, we can get this really good player, they're like, no, we can't. We don't want to do with that. So just get the mid-tier guy. That seems kind of where this is, and that's
LA
not
Clippers.
Well, right. The Clippers. And that's really too, like, if you're a creative person, you probably want to try and go above and beyond. But if you're constantly being told, hey, tamp it down, this might be the end result you get. Is this sort of like theme park maybe by committee sort of situation here?
Now, Mr. Webb, brings up an interesting question, right? Will these smaller attractions Universal is building hurt the brand if they're not only profitable but also not quality?
I think these rides are quality for the demographic because, but looking at them, like I said, it's like my main thing is looking at the rides. The rides look good. The theming looks bad, but the theming looks bad because there's not really a theme. But if you look at the infrastructure, everything's all heavily and overly built. So I do think the park is quality. It's just not the quality that we want to see.
Now, do you guys think it would have been better served for Universal to maybe not do their own park of this caliber? Maybe they would partner with like a Legoland and do like a Shrek area in a Legoland that's already existing. Do you think that would have been like the smarter move, or do you think this is the better?
Well, I think it's too early to say if this is a hit or miss or not.
Yeah.
Like, it hadn't even opened yet. So I think a lot of this is a little bit preemptive. I don't see Universal having an area inside of Legoland because I think that would just be like that would be weird optics if they did something like that. I mean, there's questions. I had questions about the Universal Horror Unleashed stuff, but the demand of that in like June and July. Like, there's questions there. There's questions about this. This is a new concept. Like, we don't know if it'll work. We don't know if this is going to work as a sort of a minor league to bring people to the bigger parks as they age. But I suppose, like, for me personally, our take is going to be what our son thinks about it. And if he has a great time here, I mean, who am I to tell him that he's wrong? And I did see some people online being like, your kid's wrong. And I'm like, how are you telling a 5-year-old they're wrong? Like, they like what they like. Like, so
And I'll tell you this right now. Like, I don't have kids. Full disclosure, I don't have kids. But if I did have a kiddo and my kiddo loved it, I would take my kiddo. Like, you do what you do for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what my opinion on the quality or whatever, right? I mean, we're all theme park nerds, and we're all like in this stuff deep. But like the kiddos are seeing it on a different level, to be fair, right?
Well, I will say this: when a lot of this stuff was announced and everything too, there was nothing really like this in Texas, right? And then Peppa Pig opened up early 2025. And I guess it's about half the size and without a hotel. And that's the thing too. We have to put the hotel in the cost for this whole thing.
The hotel's quite nice too.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying the hotel with the $550 million, the hotel has a lot to do with that one because Peppa Pig doesn't have anything like that as well too.
That's a good point, Alan. That's a really good point, actually.
So I think that's what it is. And I will say this: when Legoland opened in California, and I think at the time I was like a teenager like that too. I was like, this is stupid. It's not going to work. And it did. So I think the main thing is we have to see how it goes. And I think it was a good move at the time because there's nothing else near it. I think Peppa Pig kind of skewed it because now people are saying, why are you building a park when there's another park that does the same exact thing right down the street from it? Right. But I think there's a way for it to coexist. I think Universal kind of had to go on this alone. That they didn't need to really pair up with anyone. And I guess we'll see, because I think this is kind of like an experiment for them. If it does well enough, they can make a new Universal Kids in Florida, in California. Heck, they might go, hey, you know what, Montana, we got you.
Right.
Hey, shout out to our friends in Montana. Let's go.
Yeah, because I think the main draw for this is to get people young. So now they're not thinking Disney. They're thinking the kids. They're 8. They're thinking Universal. So now instead of doing that Disney vacation, they're doing that Universal vacation.
Yeah. And even if Peppa Pig does exist, this is why they're emphasizing the franchises that are on offer, right? Because that's something unique totally to them. We've seen Bob Iger talk about that and why the emphasis has been placed on IP and franchises for so long, including in the theme park space. It might be a distinguishment that they're actually looking for. And here's the thing. Just because they limited their investment up front when it comes to quality theming doesn't mean they'll limit their investment later on as this park matures and maybe the financials come back and say, hey, whoa, this is,
and Frisco, sorry to interrupt you, and Frisco loosens up and they say, hey, it's good enough for them so they can build stuff. Because I think it almost reminds me of Alton Towers, where some like the restrictions Frisco is putting on them. So maybe that's part of the reason why they couldn't add full-grown trees or even half-grown trees. They had to go baby stuff so they could let everything come up with it. Because I think Frisco was really against it too. I think if one thing I would say, maybe they didn't have to build a hotel now. And I wish that could go in the park because thinking of the area that it serves, they didn't need the hotel.
Now let Now, Remy D drops a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Remy D. Is this the first time Universal released a concept art and the reality is a downgrade? Honestly, Universal usually is pretty on point with their concept art. There was a little more discrepancy with this, which might point to what you gentlemen were saying about Frisco and the pushback, right? Maybe that's what was going on with that.
Possibly.
Because typically Universal is pretty in line with what they promise with the art, at least, right?
Looking at the art, though, looking at the concept art that they had for this park, it's pretty spot on. The only thing that really is a downgrade is just the trees, right, and the wildlife. Shade. So you're seeing some concept artwork that showcase trees covering that kind of LA River scene, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, that's why that looks so good. Obviously it's something that's missing right there. So honestly, I don't think it differed all that much, but the things that did, this park is suffering from, I think, is lack of shade, lack of trees, lack of that foliage, that greenery right there. Honestly, I'm a little bit more miffed about their use of their existing parks in Hollywood and Florida to showcase like the Universal Kids commercials, right? Because it's kind of like, okay, well, if the quality of theming there a little bit different than what's on offer, I think I have more umbrage with that than I do take with the concept art.
That's a fair point.
I mean, I do wonder. I mean, you might be right, but maybe the city really was like they had what they were going to do, and they were just who knows? You're talking about local city governments. I mean, they can get very nitpicky. And if they're already being very hesitant about this, they could have really came in here and been like I know they couldn't do any dark rides, no fireworks, no buildings over a certain height. So like it's just a very odd place to operate from. But with all that said, I mean, they're going to do more of these. At least they said they are. So I suppose if they open up another one in another area and it's much better, A, they probably learned from their mistakes, and B, maybe they picked a spot where they didn't have a local government that was really hampering what they're able to do. But I mean, ultimately, I think it's just way too early to know if this is going to be successful or not. Because again, if kids enjoy this, I've been to plenty of things with my kids that I think like this is absolutely terrible, and they love it, and you do it because you love your kids. And so that's just sometimes that's what you do as a parent sometimes is do things like that. So if the intention here is to get them into the brands, graduate up, we'll see if it works. But I think the adults looking at this through the adult lens, everyone can have their opinions, obviously. That's totally fair. But I don't think like it's sort of like making a kid's movie, and then you have adults that are looking at this as if like they're critiquing Casablanca. It's like, well, okay, it's not Casablanca, but like that wasn't really what they were going for here. So I do think there's some nuance here, and that is not popular on the internet. I understand that, but I do think there's a little bit, it's not as cut and dry, I suppose, as the shock value of people posting pictures on this and be like, what is this crap? And sure,
I think the people that are trying to compare this to like Universal Orlando and stuff like that, that's completely unfair. You know what I'm saying?
They're right. They're spot on. Epic doesn't have any shade.
Oh,
very true.
Oh, man.
That's true. That is true. That is very true. Now, Kit Kat here says, have you seen the picture to Disneyland when it opened? The talk about lack of shade. Kit Kat, yes, you're right. But we're talking about 1955. I mean, this is a 70 plus.
I'm also talking about Frisco, Texas in the summer. It's 100 plus degrees, and Anaheim at the highest usually goes around 80. So, I mean,
and it's also this new era of new things opening with social media. Yes. Like, I don't think 10 years ago there would have been much discourse around this. You'd have just been like, oh, there's a park opening up in Texas. I guess we'll go check it out. So now you have this hyper fixation, especially as Universal being as aggressive as they're being. This is a departure from what they're typically doing. So already you could even say Universal has a messaging issue here because A, the social media influencers you brought in here, maybe you didn't have the message clearly that what this park was going to be. And maybe that was part of the issue here. But I think anytime you're doing, it would be kind of like, I'm trying to think of an analogy here of like a similar, like big brand, all of a sudden having an offshoot. It's like a very small niche demographic. I think a lot of it carries the expectations of what that brand is known for. Right. And when that doesn't match, then people have like the reactions we're seeing is just like, well, okay,
Well, and the other thing too is like with Disneyland, Kit Kat mentioned Disneyland. It's like, I mean, you're talking about 1955, number one, but number two, you're talking about Walt Disney like mortgaged his house and was like scraping together to get this thing built. Like that's a little different than like mega multinational corp Comcast. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, I think that's kind of apples and oranges. No pun intended, oranges. But like, I think that's kind of apples and oranges a little bit when you're comparing this stuff. I think Comcast definitely has the money.
What they do, but look at also Hollywood Studios when it opened. They had like 3 things to do in that park. Like when a park opens, it's not done either. They're gonna, theme parks are never really finished. But sorry, Vash, you were gonna say something. Sorry.
No, it's look. I think this is also too. I mean, OG backed me up here. Some of these theme parks and some of these theme park projects, maybe, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months to opening. Maybe send somebody with a cell phone camera through and say, does this look good? And like, if you take pictures of this and then they are sent out in social media, what's the reaction gonna be? Some parks, they overthink this, but it's like that visceral first impression is so very, very important. A lot of people, they miss that. I'll give Disney credit where it's due. During that Cinderella Castle documentary, they actually said, oh yeah, we're recording this with high quality lenses and the highest quality that we can possibly get, but we're also going to go ahead and record this with cell phone cameras. That way we know kind of what it's going to look like for the vast majority of people. We're going to record this presentation or whatever on this structure. And it was kind of like, yeah, that's kind of what you should be doing at this point right here. I think Universal, they were just caught a little bit flat-footed on this project.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, especially in this day and age. I mean, like, are there areas here that are, if someone takes a peek, like that one, it looks like the LA River. Like the ride itself, probably to its credit, probably doesn't look that bad all around it, but that one area, and that's the first impression. So even if all this stuff improves, you still have that first impression that people have of this. And I think that, not that it can't overcome that, but that's difficult to operate from. And so first impressions are important, especially in the social media age. And you would assume, I agree, Vash, you would assume Universal is aware of this. I mean, they have social media teams. You would think somebody had been like, hey, let's go through this. And I mean, throw some paint up. Yeah. Like some of this stuff is like, you throw some paint up in this, give it some more color. It's going to be a little bit more welcoming.
Yeah. I wish this was definitely more of a soft opening and they still like two months more and then maybe the parks are soft to open like that too, like now and July 1st, and then have like an actual opening, later or even during like, some other time. But I know like they're stuck by regional rules as well too. So summer was their best time to open, because I know in Texas, like during school year, parks they have to be closed. They have to be closed during the week, and so then they're only open on weekends, and then their hours and everything as well too. So I think they're kind of, I like now thinking more and more on it. Geographically, this was a really good location, but with all the restrictions, this was a bad location to open up the first of its kind park like this for Universal.
Yeah.
Might be.
What I think they also chose this because of the demographics here are more wealthy as well. Yeah. And I think that's another reason they chose this. But again, it's like, is this going to work? I guess that's the battle here is like, is that, and it seems like maybe you could say Universal seeing what they can get away with on the least amount of money or least amount of stuff they could spend on this. And maybe they're like, okay, well, and maybe this is one of the things you learn from. You're just like, okay, this so far has not been off to a great start here. So let's learn from this and apply to the next stuff and see. But I think as Universal takes more chances, the chances of things like this happening are there because they're doing things like Disney's not doing this. Like they're taking shots at stuff. And when you do that, you are going to have some misses, undoubtedly. It's just, what do you do when you miss? And do you correct it? Do you learn from it? And then do you apply that to your next stuff? And,
sure.
At the end of the day, it's a park for 3 to 8 year olds. I don't know. I don't think, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I haven't been to it yet. I'll have more thoughts on it when we go next month. But looking at it, I've been to Peppa Pig Park. Peppa Pig Park's been more established, probably has more shade at this point, but it's not that much different, honestly, if I'm being really honest about it.
I've been to the Peppa Pig and I was actually just there over, I think it was like right after New Year's. So I went to Peppa Pig in Dallas to go check it out because I just wanted to ride the coaster, Daddy Pig. But like I will say, I felt that was more underwhelming, but I was also comparing it with already established Legolands, especially like the Legoland in Florida. That was a repurposed park anyway, and they already had the infrastructure for that one. So like Peppa Pig, I felt like it's attached already to Legoland. So it was better.
Yeah, I just feel like the fact that we can that we're actually comparing a Universal property to Peppa Pig is already an issue.
I think Peppa Pig was the template they were working off of, which again is an optics thing. You're like, is that a good idea for Universal to do that? That is the thing they were shooting for.
Yeah, and I think Frisco was kind of chopping because I think and this is me personally. I wish what they would have done is not built the hotel and just have that money and invested it into the park. So then you can have a souped up Peppa Pig park. And I think that would have been better because I think with the size of the park and everything around the area and how close it is to Dallas and everything, and it's not a 2-day park, you really don't need a hotel. And unless you're trying to break into that Oklahoma demographic and people going down, but still, even with there, I would go there and then have like a partner hotel and because Frisco has hotels because they have a big outlet and everything by there too. So there are places for them to stay by there, and I think that would have been the better move.
Alan, that's a really smart way to go. I think that would have been the better move. Don't spend the money because obviously that budget, a lot of it went to that hotel, and this is not a 2-day experience, right? No. It's barely a 1-day experience. So why not forfeit the hotel? I think Alan's right. Forfeit the hotel and put that money towards plussing the park itself.
Yeah,
that would have been the move. To be honest,
when we looked at the hotel, they wanted $350 for a night. We found a Holiday Inn Express for $125. It's brand new, 5 minutes away. So I think a lot of families are going to be like, well, you're not in this park. Realistically, like we're planning on going maybe half day on the first day and then half day on the next day, but it's not a full day thing.
Yeah, and I think the park, like with Legoland, like it works because if you go to Legoland. The Legoland parks and their hotels, it's an experience because you're going there, so you're playing with Legos and stuff like that too. There's nothing from this hotel that made me think like, hey, I need to, I need to stay there, and there's nothing for people to do.
Yeah, and Rogue Attractions is a good point. The hotel is probably where they're going to recoup some of the cost. So
it's part. It's probably part of the financial structure for this new economic model.
But it's like $350 a night though.
It'll come down. I imagine it'll come down. It'll have to.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah.
Unless they're selling out, which I don't know. But we'll see.
Dude, my family and I just stayed at the Red Rock in Vegas for less. Like the Red Rock, bro. Like really nice hotel. Like
I stayed in Orlando for less.
Oh, there's you can stay at Disney for less in Orlando. I mean, you can get All Stars for $99.
No, in California, like the Grand Californian's like cheaper.
Yeah.
It's insane. I will say this real quick. I don't want to be like a negative Nancy completely on this park. This Puss in Boots, and I hope by saying Puss in Boots I didn't like demonetize everybody. But we'll see. But this show looks really cute, and I want more of this.
It looks like a lot of the money went into this area because this area does look pretty well themed compared to the rest of the park. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, I'll have more thoughts when we go next month, and but ultimately, it's like if my son likes it, I'm just gonna be like, well.
Okay, I have a serious question before we change subjects.
Yeah,
sure.
Do we think this hotel has AC?
Oh. Maybe not.
Let's say 50-50 shot. Some rooms, it's like you walk in, you roll the dice, and like, oh, your room has AC, and the next person's like, sorry, here's a box fan. You're like, oh.
Okay, Alan, I have a serious question for you, and I don't know if Wizard is still in the chat. Is this park better than VillainCon?
Definitely better than VillainCon.
Oh, okay, Vash and Jared, we were at Universal with Wizard, man, and he had all these takes, man. He was like, "Yeah, man, VillainCon's better than Star Tours."
Oh, that's a wild take.
Oh, it was
wild take.
It was.
I don't know about all that.
My kids don't even like VillainCon, and that's who it's designed for. Like they don't even ever want to do it.
Well, because you have to hold a 30-pound blaster,
right?
So like,
it's terrible.
My son, the first time he did it, he was just like, "I can't get it." I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and then you get there, and the thing is too, like to get to VillainCon, you have to go leave the parking structure for your car, go to the parking structure, and then hop on the moving freaking walkway, which is pretty much VillainCon. So like, why am I doing that again? But with now holding more bags.
VillainCon was a big swing and a miss, undoubtedly.
It's no good.
I know what they were going for.
Oh
But
my, the real. Oh, I'm off, guys. I'm off.
Alan's getting triggered. Chat's triggering Alan.
I'm telling you, we had like the most like the craziest debate for like.
I wish I was recording it though. I wish I was recording it.
Oh, me too. That was so gold. That was it was
You
so
asked
good.
Wizard,
Dude.
he's like, I know what you're talking about. I never said any of that stuff. It was.
Oh no! He will
Possibility.
absolutely. He will double down on it. He will come. He will come in the chat.
You know,
I mean, I know we're all talking
bad.
theme park opinions, but I don't even know how you would even remotely justify that take. But hey,
It was, and I was the one drinking cut water. Like you thought Wizard was drinking cut water.
Well, speaking of kids, by the way, I need to go tell my kids goodnight real quick. So I will leave it to you guys for a little bit. If you guys want to talk about the Hollywood drift stuff and everything like that. And I know Alan, he knows the coasters very well. So I will be back shortly and I'll see where we're at there, but I will be right back.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Mr.
Just don't, I don't want to come back and just see. That would be fun if I come back and my channel's gone and I'm like, what happened?
Like, well, what did you guys do? Like, oh, gee, what is going on, bro? Like, come on.
Like, we got a chat. I don't know. It just happened. Like, all right, I'll be right back.
Thank you so much, Jared. OG, if you want to go ahead and share my screen here, we've got a couple of visuals to hook our peepers on right here. Obviously, Fast and Furious is coming along right here, and even though we don't have an opening date just quite yet, we do have an opening season. That's going to be maybe, perhaps, Alan, summer of 2026.
Summer is all the way to August, so
that's what they tell me. But Five Fires noticed something that was a little bit concerning to the wider theme park and coaster community out there. It would appear that one of these sound, I guess, tunnels, for lack of a better word, right, or these sound barriers that they put up that were supposed to evoke the stylings of the nearby Starway, well, it turns out one of those glass panels isn't doing all that well. You can see, let's see if I can actually get the quality better on this to show you. There you go. One of the glass panels shattered. And it's located in this kind of area that, well, is not the easiest to get to, I think. And some people were concerned whether or not this had to do with the vibrations of the individual coaster itself right there having an effect on this sound barrier, or maybe a manufacturing defect of some kind settling, maybe an object that was thrown. Alan, I want to go ahead and throw it to you because I think you are the voice of reason right here, and you were pretty reassuring to me. What are we seeing right now?
So obviously, and I hate to call it glass because I don't even think of, because it's not like typical glass, because I know when everyone thinks of glass, they think of like, like your actual window and everything, or your car window. It's not that. It's soundproof. So obviously you see that it is spidering. It is fractured.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows the cause of it. I think they're making a bigger deal of it than what it is, because you could tell it's really nothing came off the coaster to hit it. If I'm thinking of stuff, honestly, like, I guess I know, was it I'm trying to think of a good way to say it. But if I'm guessing, it looks like I can almost say like a bird strike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it could be.
like something ran into it. And it looks like from the way it goes, from the impact, it looks like it's coming from the outside in. Where it's at, it's really like you can't really throw anything at it from at least inside the park.
Right.
So there's and I think I saw it because I was there Friday. I was there on a Wednesday and a Friday, and then I remember it was and then Saturday we saw it, so it kind of happened like overnight of when it did. But I think it is sound the way that is because they have so many panels and everything too. I still they got, obviously they can still run the ride with that panel, or without that panel, because I'm thinking Universal, they had to foresee that and that it's going to happen. And I do remember even the glass from the actual Starway, I've been there before too, where there's a broken panel on the Starway probably like 4 years back, and it was there for a while until they got up and fixed it.
Yeah, it's a great point. Like for me, I'm not really too concerned about like whether or not they'll fix it. They will 100% fix it, right? I was initially concerned because I'm not really too privy on this kind of thing. I was more concerned about whether it was like what you were saying, Vash, right? Like a vibration. Like if it was a vibrational thing, that maybe could point to a bigger issue where it's like, okay, we have to reevaluate the way the coaster connects with the sound barrier. That could be a huge issue. If it's a bird, like you were saying, Alan, like that's a one and done thing. That's fine. I mean, not fine, but like that's something that like, okay, you fix it and you move on. So for me, it kind of like depends on what I think the issue isn't so much more for me about like the fix, because that will happen no matter what. For me, it's more about like what caused it. And if it was like a fluke accident, or if it was like a vibrational thing. I really hope it's not a vibrational thing though, because I think that is where you might lead into some issues with having to like retrofit the track or something, and I don't want to have to go down that road.
No, with that one, they wouldn't retrofit the track. I think what they would do is they would have to go ahead and switch out all the panels for something else differently, for that, because I think the track they're not going to retrofit. And then the thing is too, like where that is is also that is a sound barrier. It's not for the protection for the people, because the Starway already has the barrier over there for the people, and they also put netting over the stairway right there as well too.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I can say, like nothing really came from off the vehicle, to go, unless like because I think the only thing they have on there is like tarps or whatever like that as well too, and then also the dummies. So that's like something that came from the vehicle, and then from where it is, like unless like I said, unless someone had like a rocket of an arm and they threw it across and over the track and do it from there as well too. That's the other thing. But they had to be from like behind the Starway as well, or on the side of it, and throwing it. Because I took a picture of it as well too. It's like at like a weird angle.
Very strange angle. Yeah.
We
can see a lot of photos and video coming out showing it. Just kind of bizarre, and a lot of people didn't know what to necessarily make of it. Now I know that to install portions of that track, they used like a temporary. It was like a temporary cement jut out that they actually had a crane connected to, and pretty crazy stuff. I don't imagine it would take that much to just change a glass panel out there. So hopefully we actually see what Universal has in store for actually changing these panels quickly there. But it was a little bit concerning, because it's kind of like we don't necessarily know a date for when this is actually going to open right there. I think we had one date that made its way out, I think, on like a Facebook post or something, and Universal said, "Hey, that was erroneous. That's not necessarily going to be the thing right there."
Because it was that. It was that, and then also they were basing it off of the training. Because I think when a lot of us were because there was like a lot of enthusiasts that were out there on Friday, and so they were plussing up everything. So the walls came down, and they had a lot of people training, and then talking to some people who worked at the park but not working on the ride. They were even saying that, hey, like it's like they're doing more so training. So the only thing I did see was an increase of cars going through as well. But I think because they were expecting a soft opening, it didn't happen, and then we saw this last breaking. They're trying to put them together, saying, "Oh, this is the issue," and I think they're just two separate issues.
Right.
Now, Jared, what are your thoughts on this? What initially when you saw this, what did you think was going on here?
Honestly, I thought maybe like a bird hit it.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, like it just. I mean, it could be. I know sometimes depending on the type of glass you use, you got like temperature and humidity can cause stuff, or if it's in there too tight. So, I did see that speculation too. I don't think you'd be delaying a soft opening of a ride because of a cracked window panel, personally speaking. But
we were in a heat advisory, so it was hot.
Yeah, I mean,
true.
When it gets really hot, like again, ACs can go out. Like weird stuff can definitely happen when it gets really, really hot. So I don't know. It seems, I don't know. To me, it seems minor. I saw a lot of discourse around it, and I was like, I personally didn't think it was that big of a deal. But I don't know. I don't think it. I agree with Alan. I don't think it has anything to do with the ride not opening when people were expecting it to, or anything like that. Is there any speculation as to why? I know Universal initially put out that June 26th date, and then they pulled it back like later that day. Was it just miscommunication, or was there actually something that maybe was causing them to have to kind of like pause this? Something?
I will say this ride is a prototype, and from watching it test, over and over again too. Even though they're mostly programmed, they're I've noticed on, and this is me with my roller coaster knowledge, more often than they're comfortable with, certain cars aren't doing what they want them to do.
Right.
So so I've seen like a couple times where the Charger, like it's drifting, and the Charger's the lead car, and then it will stop. It will stop drifting, and everything else is going too. So and I think it's more of the programming with that, where it's like where everything's working, and then it's not. And I think with a ride that's like with a ride that's like this, and it's the main feature is the spinning of the car. It's
Right.
like, and it's like, how is Universal gonna handle this? If because we know, like on Forbidden Journey, if something bad happens on Forbidden Journey, what do? You get off the ride, and they say, hey, go right back on again too. Do they want to do this on this roller coaster that doesn't have the capacity of Forbidden Journey? And then we know it's going to be throughout the roof, because and that's where they have to make a thing. We're like, okay, if this car stops spinning and everything else is spinning, do you let that train, or do you let that car go? Do you, go again? Do you let the whole train go again? Like, how are you going to do this? So I think they want it more often than not that this ride's doing what it's intended to do. And I think that that is what I've noticed, because when I was there on Wednesday, when they were dropping trains, and on Friday, and I saw them dropping trains too, it was often enough where I saw it, or because I was taking a selfie with firefighters too, and we're doing one where it was doing like the drift, right? And the first car was not doing what everything else was. So then we saw the next one. We saw the next one come by. Then that one was perfect. Then the next one that came after that, the third one wasn't doing what it's supposed to do. So it is stuff like that where they're trying to get it more often than not, because I guess when I was over at Lagoon, they have a ride, and it's a lot of elements. They have screens, it drops a certain way and everything too. And then when it messed up, they were letting everyone go again. But the problem with that line was like out the park. So it was like ridiculous.
And that's something with, I mean, we talk all the time with theme park attractions, getting more complex with more technology. Building it is kind of half the battle. But this is a very similar thing to what we've seen with Battle with the Ministry. They're having tons of issues on the programming of that ride.
Yes.
And so I think you will see, I mean, in Intamin, I mean, they had some issues with Haggards as well. Like, they make really good coasters, but sometimes getting through those kinks, you got to work through these programs, from what I've learned. And I know the one for Battle was very complex. I don't even know where that's at now, but I know that was a major issue they had. So this is probably
they changed some stuff on it too, which is, it's not because I wrote it. Sorry to cut you off, because I wrote it during park opening, and then I went back with my family and wrote it at like Thanksgiving, and I could tell, like, even though like the ride's the same too, like I could say like it's a toned down version of what it was.
Yeah, they knew they removed the drop was causing them issues in that. I will say we wrote it. So I wrote it on opening day, and then we went back a couple weeks ago and wrote it. They did add a little bit of haptic feedback thing. They added some things to it since the opening day, but they didn't have that drop like they initially.
Yeah, they turned a lot down because people, they're coming out their seats because I wrote it early and wrote it back as well too. So, and I think that's just and that's because I remember that, because then the first time I wrote it, like, it messed up. So but they give me a pass to go skip everything again, and then if you do that like a lot, so
yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like a cool ride. I mean, if it's doing what it's supposed to do,
and you tell right there with that one too, like the cars are supposed to flip backwards, and 3 of them went. The other one that's the third one's not doing it. Yeah. So it's like it is stuff like that, and we see that with the testing as well.
Yeah, that's been going on a lot, actually. I've been seeing that. You're right, Alan. Where like the Dodge, the Dodge Charger in the front will not. It doesn't move. It's like it just straight up, and then the other cars are drifting, but the front car is not.
Yeah,
so
and it happens, and I think they're probably gonna find out too. Like if you write, and I think that's why they want to soft open it, so they can say if you write it and your ride experience is incomplete, this is why it's a technical rehearsal. But if it opens, it's like what are you gonna do? And I think Universal, they're gonna have to find a way to do that, because they can't really do what they do with Battle for the Ministry. And let you write it, because I'd let you write again. Or so with that one, they're gonna give you a pass to write anything else in the park, because then you're gonna get like a lot of them. And then if you do, and you can't do what you do with Forbidden Journey, it's like, oh, it messed up, so just get off and go through like the fast lane, or cut half the line and go on again and slow everything down. Because then what do you do again when it messes up again? And then it's like, how do you track that? Because at least with Forbidden Journey, like, they know when something goes wrong, because like it hurts everyone. With this one, it's like, oh, my car spun, but yours didn't. and then Vash's car spun as well too. So it's like, okay, so like how they're gonna say, oh, only OG gets to ride it again because his car messed up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
That's
And
a
G-forces hit you differently, right? When you're at various angles, so they don't want that.
But I'm saying, but that's part of the ride, because it's like if I'm riding that ride for the first time, right? And say like I'm like in a bigger group. So I'm in like my group. I'm a group of 8, or like say like a group of 6, right? So 4 of you guys are in a car, and you guys are doing all the cool stuff, and my car is dead, and I just waited 2 hours for that. Like I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
and
absolutely.
with the first impression we've seen, like the kids resort, it's like they probably want to have a really good opening and not have a bunch of issues.
Yeah,
is probably part of it. Remy D brings up a point here. Intamin's latest coaster that opened this year at my local Six Flags New England was delayed a year. Intamin's Dollywood ride is delayed for months. Although I think Dollywood's ride is not Intamin. I believe that's Mac or Mock.
That's Mac, yeah.
Yeah, that's Mock. Yeah. And the ride at New England, it was actually delayed. So that was it had been straddle coasters, and they were all shut down simultaneously for one had a restraint issue, so Intamin shut them all down. So so that it wasn't, and it was up because that one, it was about to open. They had people riding it. They actually had their media day for it too, and they canceled it because they shut down the ride over in Williamsburg, which shut down all the Intamin straddles.
Interesting.
Because even the one out here in San Diego was closed.
So Alan, let me ask you, when do you think your guess, right? When do you think this thing's gonna open in Hollywood? What if you were to guesstimate?
If I was to guesstimate, honestly, it's July. July. I think July is gonna be the date. I don't know if that's gonna be a soft opening or it's hard opening. Based on what I'm seeing, I'm thinking July is gonna be a soft opening. August is it's gonna be its actual opening. But I mean that could change, because like I'm not looking at it every day. I know they're going for. They want summer. They're going for that. They want this to be their attraction to get people in there too. Because if you miss the summer, then you're missing travel season, where people come in, and like, believe it or not, Universal Studios Hollywood is an international destination.
It is.
So because it is the +1 if people come out to Disney, they do make a stop at Universal.
Yeah.
They come to California, so that's what they do. So they want to do that crowd because this is also a showcase for next year for Florida. True. When they open theirs, and I think Florida's, it's not going to spend as much as well. So because Florida's is being built for capacity and for reliability.
Vash, you and I did a lot of content over the years, and you told me this years ago, right? You were like, I don't know, I think Universal is more of a tourist destination than even Disney, right? And I'm like, nah, bro. But honestly, like I've been going to Universal more lately. You know what I'm saying? I've for the past like year and a half, I've been using my AP at Universal, because Alan and I live pretty close to Universal. We're only like about 15-minute drive, like on side streets. Like it's not that bad. But like I see a lot of, and you can tell the locals from the international, like, you can tell, dude, there's a lot of international guests at Universal. It's a different vibe. You have a lot of locals, a lot of Magickies, a lot of Californians at Disney, but you see a lot more international, I think, at Universal. Go ahead.
Well, I think it stands out more Universal, but also because Universal, and I'll put it this way: Disney, no matter where you're at, Disney, you have to plan for it. Whether it's Florida, California, Japan, China, you have to plan for it too. Universal, it's very, very easy if someone's coming out, because California is still LA, Hollywood. It's still a international tourist destination. So it's very, very easy to add Universal to your plans already.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is a movie studio, right? One of the most famous movie studios in the world, that obviously gives it a lot more cachet as well. And that's why the studio tour, isn't going away. I don't know what's going to happen to it necessarily, but that's why they want to maintain that in that portfolio.
Yeah, and that's it. So it is, and I think that's why you get the international guests, because I think it's easier for them to pop in, pop out, do certain things, and especially with the World Cup as well too. Because we were there on Saturday, was it Saturday or Friday? I was with Wizard, and so yeah, I was with Wizard, and we were there, and people, they were just they were going to Universal, and they were just there for the World Cup and everything too. So so right now they do have a lot of international visitors.
Yeah, and Wizard, he is not a fan of that studio tour. I love the tour, man. I'm a vibes guy, and Alan got me on that Twisted Tram tour. If you know, you know, right? I love it. I love the tram tour. It's my thing, but I don't know. You know, to each their own. And I think
This
it's
has got all the hot takes going on.
I'm telling you. Well, and here's the thing. It's like I feel like with Universal Hollywood, because it is such a small park and it's like on that hill and the whole thing. I think that the tram tour sort of like it brings a uniqueness to it that offsets the size, and I think it's really, really special. You know?
Yeah.
So
It rounds out your day.
absolutely, and it's a 45-minute experience.
Yeah. No, and
experience.
it's something that just you don't get anywhere else. And like I understand like as a local and popping in, popping out, because that's the thing. I love the tram tour. And like if I'm spending like if I'm doing like a half a day, like I'm always going to the tram tour. But I know if I'm popping in for a couple hours, I'm probably not going to do it because it takes a big chunk of time. But I do like the fact that it is unique every time you go.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's similar, but it is very unique. And you know, sometimes it's not just about the park, it's about the whole experience. And the tram tour brings a good experience. So even though the tram tour will triple the size of the park, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I agree because you can go to theme parks anywhere, really. I mean, theme parks are kind of a dime a dozen, but like this experience of this tram tour and kind of going into these big set pieces and all that's very, very unique.
Vash is good, man. Look at
Oh, dude, Vash, bro.
The other day on Vash's channel, I brought up randomly as an example the Universal bus fire that happened last summer at Epic Universe. He had B-roll up in like 3 seconds. I'm like, how in the world did you have that on hand? Listen, Vash is otherworldly with his B-roll and being on it.
Vash is he's a real one, because I remember the first time it was after a live, and we're just talking about random stuff, and Vash is bringing out B-roll for just a regular conversation. And I'm like,
I love it, dude.
It makes a conversation better. So, yeah,
bro.
It's true.
That
speaking of this coaster, we can talk about this real quick. The one in Orlando is going up very quickly, and I will tell you that spike over City Walk, that the picture doesn't do it justice how big that is in person.
170 feet,
and that thing is that is going to be. And there's a shot on this, and they've got a bunch of track. I think this thing is going up fast, like very fast. But like you're going to have iconic shots like this one right here with that globe right there. It's going to add such a kinetic energy to City Walk in Orlando. It's impressive how quickly, because they were building this coaster while they were tearing down Rip Ride Rocket. Like,
yes,
like
the footers and everything.
They would clear out a section and put footers down. You're just like, that is. I've never seen a place go that quick with replacement thing as they're tearing down a previous thing.
Well, I will say this: Universal, they're not alone in that. When Top Thrill Dragster was going up at Cedar Point, they were building that as they were tearing out the old rides as well too, and people just didn't know because it was Cedar Fair doing it way back when. Vash has B-roll of D23 2026 already.
I do have Bob Iger's.
I might actually.
Hey,
totally lost my thought.
He's a time traveler. It all makes sense now. He knows.
He's a time traveler?
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
There we go, Vash.
I
The
love
ride's
that.
here.
I love that. It's great.
Gotta have enough plutonium to run his computer to be able to do that. Sorry, go ahead, Vash.
It's true. I was just going to say about Fast and Furious. You know, a lot of the issues that plagued Hollywood, right, when it comes to earthquake code, and you had to build on the side of a hill. All of those, they don't necessarily exist in Florida, so you can put down track super quickly, and that's why that.
And the rides are built differently, because the one it's built, like you said, it's built flat. It was built where there was already a coaster there. People they tend to forget that in Hollywood there was no coaster there. They tore down 2 buildings, and then even like the footers, which people they don't realize, they go really, really, really deep. Because even like I saw at Magic Mountain for their 2 coasters, the last 2 coasters, Wonder Woman, and it was a single rail, so light track and everything too. Those footers were freaking huge. And then also the new one with new things cycling in, those footers, they're actually on site right now too, and they go really, really deep as well. So in Florida, you don't have to go in as deep. Also, this, I said, the way this coaster is being built too, it's a lot more sprawling. And this one's actually seems a little more graceful as well too. So it's not being because of where it's at, it doesn't need to be reinforced as much. So yeah, they are building it, but it's kind of like building a terrain coaster in real life compared to building a coaster on Planet Coaster 2. And that's how it is. Like in Florida, they're just Planet Coaster. Over here, like we have to sculpt, terraform everything, deal with everything on here. So
they also built it on the side of a mountain or a hill over there in Hollywood. So that's a whole other engineering.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the genius of that whole thing, because for me personally, the escalators have always been sort of like part of Universal Hollywood, right? Like you got to go down like 4 different escalators to get to the lower
best ride
lot.
there. It's better than VinlaCon.
Well, that's true. That is very true. It is better than
I will say
VinlaCon.
so, yes.
You know, it is better than VinlaCon. But they were really smart in utilizing that and turning it into like a selling point. Like the way they've handled this coaster in Hollywood is absolute genius, dude. And then you get a beautiful view of the San Fernando Valley, which you can see Warner Brothers and Disney and all the studios from that attraction. I mean, how more LA can you get? And Fast and Furious, it's a very LA franchone. So I think it works out beautifully.
LA if you got a really great view of whatever fire is taking place at the time in LA. That's what am I wrong? Oh, sorry. I'm a forward. From our perspective outside California, it seems like you guys are always on fire at some point or another. So it's
because we're so hot out here.
Oh,
Yes.
we're pretty hot.
Thing going on.
We are pretty hot. Oh, here comes Wizard with the villain gun. Here we go. Here we go.
No.
Oh gosh, that's ridiculous.
Wow, that's insane. That's
Next week's
crazy.
guest may be different at this point. I'm just kidding. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Well, let's actually move on here and talk about. This is a very interesting story that had some more developments today, which is the fact that. Let me bring this story up. So we can do this on the fly and not mess.
Hey, by the way, Rudio just said it's too soon, Jared. His air purifier just got its feelings hurt. So
no, my best. My bad. Yeah. Sometimes the AC goes out in Florida. We got our own fires to deal with out here. It's just different. You know what I mean? But so obviously, theme parks and you want to go have a good time. People don't want to get injured. That's why you have safety precautions. And there was a story that went around yesterday, and we were talking about this in the pre-show. A lot of the day, I know Vash dug into this. I'm trying to figure out, was this story true? Because it came from an outlet that we weren't really familiar with. But there is video of this, which we'll take a look at, of a 13-year-old boy tumbling headfirst down Tiana's Bayou Adventure out in Disneyland. And the first reports were that he went down the thing. And my thought was like, how would he survive that if that actually happened? And it actually does turn out. I think they have the video here. We'll take a look. This is from TMZ. Enlarge this. Here we go. And it's from someone's cell phone, but you can see here at that arrow.
dude,
That is wild.
It's insane.
He probably freaked out and got out of the log. There's no way he fell out like.
According to all the reports that I dug up, OG, that's exactly right. Starting to get out of the log and couldn't get out fully, and unfortunately couldn't be stopped in time to actually stop that log from actually going over the apex of that hill. Dragged him down with it. That's what happened here.
That's crazy. And I guess the story is they took him to the hospital, and I guess he's okay from everything that we're hearing. But I mean, now this obviously this is a freak thing. We haven't I don't recall this. Maybe something like this happened before, but obviously now you got cell phones and stuff like that. So first off, the fact that he wasn't hurt. I mean, I guess when you're 13, your bones are a little bit more nimble, perhaps. But
Jared, you and I wouldn't have made it, bro.
I mean, the only thing I will say is 3 years ago we were at Caribbean Beach. Oh, was it Caribbean Beach? Yeah, Caribbean Beach, and we were in the pool area. And my son was like 3 years old, and he wanted to go on this slide, but he would kind of chicken out. He didn't want to go. So he got up there. We thought he was going to go, and he kind of started freaking out. So I had on slide flip-flops, which is not very smart when you're going into a water area. And I was trying to grab him, and I don't even know to this day what happened. All I know is all of a sudden, feet above my head. In that moment, you're like, this isn't good. And I just bit it. And I was totally fine. I was shocked. When I first hit, I was like, I've broken my back or something. But it slid so hard, I actually had to cut off my slides because I couldn't get them back over my feet. I don't know if that accounts to what would happen to me on a 50-foot drop. Probably not the same, but I don't know. We probably wouldn't be in very good shape. But the kid is okay. So,
Yes.
I suppose that obviously that's the most important part. But do you think
Absolutely.
from this, there's going to be changes to this ride and maybe both coasts?
Well,
go ahead, Alan.
On the East Coast and in Japan, they have the restraints. So and a lot of just natural log flumes in general, they don't. And then since the one in and that's how the one at Disneyland is. I am worried that this might have repercussions theme park wide.
100%. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of other, so like even at Magic Mountain, there's Jetstream that doesn't have that, and that's why. And the thing is, and that's why in Jetstream they have a bunch of which is why it doesn't operate a lot. And a lot of log flumes, they don't operate a lot too because of the manning, because you have to have manning at every station. So to make sure that this doesn't happen. So that's one thing I'm worried that this might have implications. I know on some of these newer logs now that are in a road, they do have flat bars, but that also hurts capacity as well too. So it's gonna be very, very, very interesting what happens.
Because Disney was confronted some years ago about this idea, I believe about 10, 15 years ago, if I recall correctly. They were actually looking at modifications to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad as well, which is very interesting. Maybe going towards like an Expedition Everest type setup in order to maintain safety on that attraction. But at the same time, they were being evaluated for Splash Mountain specifically, right? And Alan's exactly correct. This is why Disney was so against it, was not necessarily about the safety factor, but it was due to capacity, because the capacity at Disneyland's Tales by Adventure or Splash Mountain had always been a source of contention, right? Especially when they started putting in those seat dividers, right? You'll remember back in the day, Alan, they didn't have dividers at all. It was just just an open bench, and they could stuff those logs.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I wish I'll try to find some pictures because my mom, we have a bunch of stuff, but you see it. There used to be no dividers in it at all too. So so like if you look up like Logjammer, Magic Mountain Logjammer, and I'm pretty sure Vash he'll find it.
He's got B-roll.
Yeah, no, the logs used to be like that.
Interesting.
And so there was no dividers and everything. There was no dividers at all. And with no dividers, you can load faster. You can put more people in there too. And then it makes it so this log you can have 8 or 7. This and that too. So there's your maximum is fluid, depending on people size. Well, on now that there's dividers, so now you actually have like a capacity, capacity on there.
Right, and that just makes it a lot more difficult. I don't have a picture of the actual logs themselves. I do apologize right there, but you can imagine. Just Jetstream, but even Jetstream has, I think, a little bit of a divider with it as well. At least what I'm seeing here. Anywho's the configuration for Tales by Adventure at Disneyland is a lot more traditional in terms of log flume. It's less like a flat bottom boat as you would have it for Tokyo's and Florida's. And so that's what makes Disneyland's very distinct in that regard right there. And one of the ways that they were told that would mitigate the presence of safety restraints was 1, dividers, but 2, actually having a cast member actually stationed at the base of the lift hill with kind of emergency set off switch right next to them, and you can actually see that. So if you've ever been on Tales by Adventure, Splash Mountain, right before you actually get up on that initial, like the third lift hill, let's say, for that big drop right there, you actually look back, you can actually see that cast member just sitting right there, which is very, very interesting. And so that cast member's job is to actually look at that lift hill at all times and see if anybody's looking to get out. Boom, you actually press the E-stop. In this way, it was just so high at the time that this child actually jumped out, there was no way to actually press the E-stop to prevent that log from actually falling right there. But I do believe it was pressed. I have some I gotten some reports that it was.
Yeah.
And the thing that's big about that is the thing you worry about it is not just somebody actually getting out, somebody being dragged, somebody actually going along that track right there, or falling from that height, it's another log coming in.
Right.
That's your worst.
Yeah.
And it looks like that was prevented, thankfully, for all those involved right there, because it's a very, very serious situation, obviously. And Alan, I don't know if you remember this, but the big story coming out of Splash Mountain when it was actually being tested and built in 1988, 1989, was that the first, engineer who wanted to go ahead and take a ride down this, the log flume did it after hours and so forth, and he got in there and actually broke his leg on that slope right there. It was so just that transition just was not worked out, and supposedly that's what caused the big delay to have the Disneyland version of Splash Mountain open, July 17th, 1989, right there, which is very, very interesting. So it's a very precarious drop, even if you are in a log, which that engineer was. So to have this happen right here, the fact that, the reports that we're receiving right now was that this boy was transported to the hospital and actually released later on that day. Just a miracle, because who knows?
I will say that,
Please.
and put it in perspective.
Please.
The drop isn't. I guess the way he took it was scary, but it wasn't much more higher than other water park slides, like drop and everything.
This is 50 feet or so.
Yeah, and those were like 75 and everything else like that too. So like looking at the way he dropped. So, and the thing is, I don't know how he landed at the end.
That's what I was thinking is like, what's in, there could be mechanisms that you run, like you smash into that. Or you smash in the back of the lagoon or the toboggan there.
Yeah. No, so I'm hoping that when he went down like that too, so he got more centered and didn't hit anything like on the side and maybe turn it back around. So like I kind of want to see how he landed, because now I'm just interested now that I know that he's okay. I kind of want to see like how the hell did he like how did he go down like the whole way? So I'm guessing, because I know he went down on his back, but so I'm not sure if he turned back around and went feet first, or he went in and then it hit his head.
I would imagine he went feet first, because if you went head first, I would imagine there's going to be some injuries at that point, I would say.
Yeah, that is
OG,
wild.
What do you think, OG?
Well, no, you're absolutely right, and it's kind of ironic in a way, because obviously the kid was freaked out about the drop. And he went down way worse than anybody ever did.
He took the scariest ride possible.
Yeah, bro. Like, come on, you would have been better off in the log, But the other thing too is that Remy D brings up an interesting point. Like, do you think they're gonna trespass this kid? I mean, thankfully he's okay, but like, I don't know.
Not that they won't. They could. I doubt it, because it was like 13-year-old kid that may be freaked out. Like, if it was a stunt. Now we find out later it was some sort of stunt, then maybe that's the case, but it legitimately was a kid that just freaked out and made a mistake. I mean, kids are kids that do dumb stuff. So I would be surprised personally if they trespassed him or anything like that. Maybe a warning, like, don't do that again. Obviously, don't do that.
He might be banned from the ride.
Yeah, maybe they'll keep him going on the
but not the park, especially if they're like, oh, like if it was like legit like a freak out. Oh, and I think the Real Adventures asked Dudley is taller by 10 feet.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been much worse, especially off the heels of we just had the Stardust Racers incident last year. I mean, if you're Disney, I agree with you guys. I think you could see some industry-wide changes, just because, like, you could look at this as a very close call. That could have been much worse, and even if it was a freak thing that's never happened before, they're probably going to take precautions that it does not happen again.
Yeah, and then other log flumes, they don't have like the sides, like so if you go to Jetstream, that happens. Like, there's no place for them to kind of step off. So then it's like, then you might not fall down the slide, you might just fall off the freaking ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too, is some of these flumes, like Alan was saying right there, you step off and there's nothing there. I do wonder if the procedures will change in the interim, because obviously Cal OSHA is doing their investigation right there. So, maybe within their investigation, they don't necessarily mandate restraints or something. Because I do agree. I think that would be disappointing for a lot of us theme park fans that actually happened. But from Disney's end, maybe in the interim or maybe permanent, maybe you don't see little ones actually being sat behind parents, because that could be a thing too playing out here.
Yeah, because as far as I know, the ride is running. right now too, so it's back to what it is. But I'm guessing they would probably do that because I know after other events had happened, like I know in Texas something happened. So then, if you're riding by yourself, you cannot sit like in the back row of any roller coaster. So I can see Disney doing that, saying like kind of like on Universal Studios on the tram tour. If you have like a little one, they have to sit like on the inside. So I definitely see that too. They're going to make it look more like, hey, little one in front, parent in that back seat.
Yeah. Well, maybe I mean, hopefully they don't change the thing. That would make sense to kind of put, because my thinking there too is at the very end, I'm like, and maybe it was just, it never happened before, but if you did have a kid that's a little squeamish on a ride, it's like they're sitting in front of me, just so, in case he tries to get out, you just put a hand on the shoulder. You're like, chill, just ride it and go down it. But yeah, that's I mean, and Webb would bring up a good point. No, and underestimate a Power of Disney ban. That's a way to said. Who knows? They might.
And Hammer.
I mean, it really it's interesting the way Disney operates that way. I don't know if they had any understanding or anything like that. But if it was me, I wouldn't necessarily ban them, but I would be like, make it very clear, you basically dodged death by doing this. So
like for me personally, like, and I'm not Disney, but like if I was right, like if I was head of security or whatever who does this, intent matters in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I mean, if the kid was, we don't even know. I mean, maybe the kid was on the spectrum or something.
I was going to actually bring that up. It is very possible that you're dealing with, who knows? It could be some sort of thing like that, and it's definitely very possible, especially if that is at play. Yeah, I could definitely see them not doing a ban there. And let's see if Vash has a.
This is an image of
Vash has B-roll. Let's go.
You got it. We'll challenge Vash's B-roll.
That's true. This is an image of how these logs actually look like today. I couldn't actually get a clear shot of how these logs actually look like, in the past, other than the special that they actually did with Ernest back in the day. If anybody's actually seen footage of that, there you go. That's kind of what those logs used to look like back in the day. Yeah. And so you can see like one divider, but like that was, it was pretty spread out. It's absolutely wild right there. And this attraction has been hurt by capacity ever since, especially with that kind of 6+1 limitation that they have here, whatever that number is. And I doubt they want to suffer more from this, especially right now, especially in summer and all of that. So we're hoping that, because at one point they were actually looking at over-the-shoulder restraints for this. As crazy as
back
that
in the
sounds,
90s, right?
No, but actually, and it's sad. Another tragic accident stopped that because it was perilous plunge at Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh, really?
Because they had over the shoulder, and that's kind of like, especially on how your height is, it's a false positive, and then people slid under.
Oh,
right. So
and that was that was an Intamin ride, believe it like that too.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So at least for like modern era, I would think that these restraints might look different, but that might cut into capacity even more, depending on how these restraints are actually implemented, right? Because it's not just doing the checks; it's also like you have to provide for a seat that actually can do that. Mm-hmm. It could get really bad really fast. Very curious to see what actually OSHA says about this because they're investigating currently.
Yeah, John Make It Rain coming down hard on this kid, bro. 500 hours of community service.
I don't know how Disney's going to enforce community service, but
this kid should be forced to ride VillainCon all day.
That's rough.
Give me the community service.
Get me on the 101. I'll pick up trash, whatever you need.
You tell me what, it's 6 hours of this or it's on the highway? Highway sounds fun. I can listen to something while I'm doing that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Now Kiki and Luca always bring in the humor. I love Kiki and Luca. He says here that his son is 16 and is generally an idiot. Brain is not fully developed. Or maybe
your brain is not developed until you're like 25. So your decisions are terrible.
Like, that's the thing. I can see my kid's 16 and I can see him trying to do something stupid like that.
Or maybe he inherited my wife's genes, is what you follow up with.
That's some sketchy territory there, Kiki.
You're playing with fire there.
He goes to delete that comment really quickly. I didn't say anything.
There was an incident some time ago of somebody actually getting out of the Walt Disney World version, so it's not even like restraints could have necessarily alleviated this issue. Let me see if I can actually bring that up
You
right
about the
now.
dude that went to go get his hat?
Well, that did happen, yeah, and I saw that being circulated around right there. But no, this was a different incident in which you can see right here, boom, right there. So there was this dad and son duo that actually got off of Walt Disney World's at the base of the lift hill because
I remember that, yeah.
Actually, this is the kind of the slip and falls drop right there, right? But right before you get made tiny before the previous laughing place scene. Anyway, they got off here because there was a backup and they just didn't want to wait, so they just got out. So it's not to say that restraints are all encompassing, and I would just say, hey, look, listen, keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the right vehicle at all times, and parents, watch your kids. Come on, what's going on here? Like that.
I should grab my band hammer right now. Yeah, I'm gonna grab my band hammer. I'm grabbing my band hammer. I'll be right.
He's
back.
grabbing the band hammer right.
You got a
there.
band hammer? Oh, I need a band. I've always said I need like a judge's gavel to like make decisions. You just have one, just call have rename the channel, Jared or something, and just watch videos and react to them and admit
I like
guilt.
that.
Theme park fights
like
and
that.
such. Oh, you got the band hammer?
Got the band hammer.
Oh, the Mjolnir. I like that. That's a good band hammer. Right
Mjolnir,
there.
I like that.
Now you got to throw it and have it come back to you.
So I needed my kid here, so I brought it to my hands.
You're at throw, you just hear something break. You're like, oh, no. But no, I mean, like I said, hopefully the kid is perfectly fine. That is a story he will probably have to tell one day and about getting out and doing all that. But yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, like, there's stories of this stuff happening before social media.
Of course.
I'm sure this is not something that's never happened before. It's just you hear about it so much more now. Before it was probably more like folklore. Like for instance, at Silver Dollar City with the park. So I'm from Missouri. It's like a Dollywood. They're like sister parks. They kind of commingle. With
Silver Dollar City's better though.
Oh, I agree. I love Silver Dollar City. But a long time ago, back before I was even probably born, I think there's a ride there they had called Fire in the Hole. Somebody stood up during the ride and got their head separated from their body, and that was one where it's like I remember that was the folklore of that ride. And as a kid, I was like, I'm not riding that thing. And you just hear about this stuff, but that weird stuff can happen. But a lot of times, if you sit down and you do what you're supposed to do, you're probably going to be, your chances of being okay are much higher than taking it upon yourself to try and bail at the last second, I would say, or get some sort of social media clout.
Yeah, no, I think there's rules for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's also safety zones for a reason. Because I will say there's a person that was, and sometimes it gives rides a bad name because there was a person decapitated at Six Flags over Georgia.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to hop a fence to get his hat for Batman the Ride, and then someone kicked his head off.
And there was that story there with Cedar Point. Did you see that one? Almighty Coasters. They were operating the ride. It was like a flat ride or something like that, and they were like beyond the fence or whatever, and that ride was still operating. Crazy stuff.
Well, you had that Schlitterbahn incident years ago where that kid got, again, his head was separated from his body. They shut that whole park down. Turned out there was a lot of safety issues with that park. That one is horribly sad.
That one's tough. That one's tough.
That one, and to this day, I mean, that one and like the gator with the kid at Disney World, I can't. I legitimately just can't. When I read that story, and that was like when my daughter was really little when that happened. I was like, good night. I couldn't even imagine. So
there are some stories. I actually saw a video a couple months ago, and I'm a pet owner, and it was this little dog. It was probably like a little poodle or something. And the woman was at the beach with this little poodle, and she was letting her dog run around the beach. And this seal just comes out of nowhere, out of the water, grabs the dog and brings it into the ocean. Never saw the dog again.
Well, you just don't. I mean, a safe bet, if you're especially in Florida, assume everything in the water outside of a swimming pool has a gator in it. You just
even the swimming pools have a gators in them.
I mean, it's possible. Like our community pool in my neighborhood, there is a little pond with a fountain, and there is a gator that just sits. And they when it gets too big, they move it out, and there's another one that pops up. So like, I've never been near it, and if that thing comes near me, I will outrun the thing. But I just always like, I don't mess with the ocean. I don't like to get in the ocean water, and I don't mess with the waterways in Florida. So I'm just like, hey, if I stay out of those, I'm doing much better. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, what is the ET foot story? I think I recall somebody lost a foot on ET?
Did they?
I want to recall. Let me know. Real Ventures, let us know. I think I vaguely remember something about that, but I don't recall any of the details.
I remember the big Thunderfoot story.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Pretty well publicized.
What is that one?
Oh, well, if you look at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad currently, right, and this I think goes for at least the one in Florida and the one in California, you'll see that when you actually get into the vehicle, you had to step over this kind of like this little slot, right, that actually comes out. You have to step over it to get in. That's there for a reason, because unfortunately a little boy actually put his foot out of the ride vehicle before actually coming back into the station. And
it happened
that was it.
No, it happened on ET as well in Florida. It happened at Full Throttle at Magic Mountain. It happened on Coast Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. So little people taking their foot out on rides. It happens more than you think.
And I know anytime for us, like we always ride ET, but we always make the kids are always in like on the inside for just. I'm like that type of person anyways, because I just think of all the variables that could happen, and kids get, they start flailing their arms and stuff like that. But that's
sure.
That would be not a thing there. Yeah, undoubtedly there. But all right, well, the last thing we'll hit really quick, I did want to cover and talk about some of the Halloween Horror Nights announcements that were there. Just give you guys thoughts on that. So they announced 2 houses. So we've had a few, at least for Orlando, and then OG and Vash, and you guys can talk about some of the Hollywood stuff. But Stranger Things 5 was announced as a house coming, and then as well as an original house that is called and I will bring a visual up in a second here. We've had Sinners, Dr. Oddfellow, and I'm getting the name wrong, Jack the Clown. And then the new one here is the HR Blood and Guts returns. This is an original IP house. Kind of sounds very similar to Slaughter Cinema from I think a couple of years ago, which I did enjoy that house. So we're getting a little bit more of the houses rounded out. What are your guys' thoughts on HHN this year in terms of what we might get? Are you guys excited for Stranger Things 5 in that house?
It's interesting because I don't know. It's weird because that series ended. So I'm kind of like wait and see with that, like how that's going to connect with people. Like, is there still an appetite for it now that the show's over? You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of wondering how that's gonna pan out. I was personally with all the Michael Jackson hype this year, I was hoping for like a Thriller maze, but
excuse me. I think it was too short notice for that. But man, I really hope next year they do that. And I think next year you could actually see like Obsession, maybe Backrooms. Backrooms would be a really interesting.
Backrooms would be a cool house.
That would be a really interesting house to do. I think there was some speculation about an Ozzy Osbourne house. Apparently that may have been shot down by John Moody, apparently, or potentially. I think that would be really awesome if they did something like that. But I do wonder, like a lot of speculation. What are the big things that are being speculated? I know Ash and Evil Dead. That's one that's been out there. I want to say a Hellraiser is one, at least for Orlando, that a lot of people have been pretty certain that one's going to happen.
I was right. Look at that.
Okay. Wither says, okay, I got a source confirmed to me that the broken glass panel at Fast and Furious was in fact a bird strike.
Hey, got it.
Almighty.
Well, the birds are now attacking, so you know what you need to do, because I don't trust birds.
Banhammer them all. All birds are banned from the park.
Yeah,
that's right. The conspiracy route, are birds even real? Or are they just listening devices from the CIA? I mean, who knows?
They're part of the house for HHN.
I think
I'll tell you right.
The Illuminati is what I think. I think birds started the Illuminati, and they just randomly strike people. That's my take.
Rapunzel, not a fan of birds, by the way.
No, eat her hair. Yeah, they're terrible. I don't trust things that just fly inherently, personally speaking. But
yeah, I don't blame you.
See, now they're gonna shut down the ride now, because then the animal activists are gonna come out and say that we can't build it there.
Yeah, ban the birds. Ban all birds. I agree.
Man, I'm trespassing.
Except Eagles. Eagles are cool. Eagles can stay.
All right.
That'll be.
There you
that'll
go.
be- that'll
I
be
have
great.
it. I have an eagle drop, but last time I dropped it, I blew your guys' eardrums out.
All right. Wait. Okay, you can play it now.
Listen, freedom's loud.
There we go. There we
Listen,
go.
freedom's a little loud sometimes. Okay.
Sometimes.
Although I think a courier
True.
pigeon, a la an eagle, is a little bit more intimidating. If I deliver a message to you via courier eagle, you're like, oh, this guy is he means some business here.
Now, what would you guys think about this? Mr. Weber brings up an interesting idea. If Universal had a Disney adult house, like a crazy, like twisted Disney maze,
They would
Now-
get flamed forever about it. They would get. I don't think Disney could remotely do that. I think they would get. I think even like what we're seeing at the Universal Kids Resort, you'd see mainstream people. They would go nuts if they did something like that.
yeah. Oh man, that would be so fun though.
Now
That
in
would be
Hollywood, now do you guys typically have different? You get some same houses, but some different houses from Orlando, correct?
Correct.
Every year.
Correct.
So, what houses are you guys looking at out there that are maybe specific to Hollywood that is on your guys' speculation stuff?
I haven't been keeping track of the Halloween Horror Nights speculation as closely as maybe I should. So I do apologize there. I will say Stranger Things, I mean, it's been a mainstay for the last, what is it, off and on for the last few Halloween Horror Nights right there, with varying degrees of success, I think, from audiences. But this is going to be, I think, one of the last times it's going to be featured here because, well, show's over. So that's going to be significant right there. I'm very curious to see what the demand is like for that. Sinner's obviously a breakout hit from last year's box office right there. So to have it featured, I think is very, very cool. Still waiting for some of the, other houses to be revealed. But I think this year, at least for me, I don't know. I wasn't over the moon about what I personally heard right there. But let's see what other houses actually come out.
I do agree with that one. I'm not like a huge I go participate, but I'm not like a huge HHN person too. But usually like I see stuff that kind of like catches my eye. I'm like, oh okay, and I guess my HHN, my excitement is what other people say. And with this one, like besides Sinners, like I really haven't heard anything. So I think it's not, and that's just for Florida and Hollywood as well. So for me, my interpretation is that people don't see him as high on it this year as in other years prior, besides Sinners.
Yeah, I don't think Stranger Things carries the same weight nearly after season 4. I do agree with you, OG. It's like the show's over. Although I think there are some we talked about this on your channel with Tommy. I think there's some pretty iconic scenes they could use for the house. Like I have my beef with season 5, but I think there are some pretty good scenes you could put in there. So I think you'll see a lot like the radio station and probably where they had that final battle and stuff like that. So I would be curious how much because typically you see, at least in Orlando, you'll have their 2 top houses that get the most traffic. And thus far, I think Sinners will be one. I think Stranger Things will have interest. I'm just curious, depending on the other ones. And so far on this speculation map, it's been pretty accurate here. So this one for Orlando is showing Hellraiser, Invasion of Lightning Gulch, Zyborgs, Evil Dead Burn, the Carrie Zoo. They're showing an Ozzy Osbourne house still. So we'll see. But I mean, I would say if this is the lineup for at least speaking to Orlando, it's probably not as headlining as we've seen in previous years, but this event just keeps getting bigger and bigger every year. And so I don't know. At this point, I wonder how much the houses have an effect on the actual attendance of HHN.
I don't think they do. Like honestly, and then even like even out here too, because I know people like they don't go to Universal at all too, but they just go for Horror Nights, and then they leave Horror Nights, and then they go to Not Scary Farm, and so I think that's like the business itself. And I know like Not Scary Farm is loaded as well too. So I think So I don't think the house, like you said, the houses, they really don't do anything. I think people are like, oh, Horror Nights, I'm going.
They just want to go. Well, and I can speak to that because I'm like OG. I hate horror movies. I can't stand them. They piss me off. I won't even touch them, but I love HHN. I know it doesn't make any sense. But so for me, it's like I don't really follow I want to see Hellraiser. I don't know these movies, but I do love the vibe, and it's just a fun thing to go do. Usually my wife and I go. It's just a very unique event. in a theme park space. Like you just don't see stuff like this in a major theme park for the most part on this level. So I always enjoy it. So for me, it's like I don't have as much vested interest. I think the Aussie house would be cool. Other than like I want to see a Michael Jackson Thriller house. I think that would be absolutely. I think they would make all the money in the world if they did that, selling even the merchandise itself. So I mean, I would be curious. I think the Michael film was a Universal Pictures, or at least they distributed it. So one would assume they might be able to, but I don't really know exactly where those theme park rights lie with the Michael Jackson estate. But I'd be trying what I could to get that. But I mean, this year we do have Express Pass, so I'm excited for that and seeing what this is. Usually, honestly, I usually like the original IP houses better than I do the big ones. Like the big IPs that come in, I typically like the ones that they kind of just do, like the Mafia one from a couple years ago, and like they had the medieval. It was like a medieval torture fair in our one of the scare zones. That thing was awesome. So I a lot of times I like the originality stuff and not as much about these big IPs.
Yeah, because I remember when the Weeknd had his house, I really didn't like it. I liked the drinks that they had over there, but his house was meh.
That was weird. That was a very weird one. I will agree.
But I think sometimes you need that, and like center. So I do think like it's needed to get other people that are like about it to get excited about it too. And I think I think that one I probably would have liked that one better if I didn't have to wait as long as in line as I had to. So then I was already kind of like, what, like really? And then you saw it, and then you're like, really?
Yeah, I did that I waited in Chucky, it being like 90-minute wait, and I was like, I can't stand Chucky anyways. And I was just like, this wasn't worth it. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking for it. I'm kind of getting that mode now, even though it's June, of like, I love fall. Like, I'm not really a big Halloween person. It's more or less Halloween falls within fall, and I really love fall. So for me, it's like, it's kind of what you do in the fall is go
pumpkin spice lattes.
There we go.
Cold pumpkin cream cold brews. That I don't really drink Starbucks much. When they have those, I get those.
I'm gonna get one for you.
Thank you. Enjoy it. I hope it makes your day energized.
I'm not admittedly. There we go.
We'll have to get one and go live across all time zones.
Absolutely.
Pumpkin drink.
The first sip.
Now, I admittedly am not a pumpkin spice guy.
Hater.
That actually kind of surprises me. You seem like a pumpkin spice guy. Not to like bring it, I'm not saying that's a bad thing because I'm a pumpkin spice guy.
I am a little shocked. You do look like a pumpkin spice guy.
See, I'm full of surprises. No, I'm not a pumpkin spice guy. Not at all.
You're gonna have to get one. You have to get one for the live.
Yeah, no, exactly.
We're all up till 4 a.m. with all that caffeine, just like, oh, I'm buzzed. But Vash, are you a pumpkin spice guy?
It depends on the item there. But if it's like a drink or something, sure, why not?
You can't go overboard with like pumpkin spice foods.
Yeah,
those aren't as good. The drinks are kind of more where it's at personally.
No, I only get one drink because I drink it with the people, and then after that, like I'm good for the year. So now we have to have. Oh, geez, he's have to have a pumpkin spice live that we all need to hop on.
Absolutely. We're gonna peer pressure him into drinking one. And this year, pumpkin spice is overhyped. But the problem is, I'm not saying it might be overhyped, but it's you only get it for like 2 months.
It's overhyped, but it is a staple.
Yeah, it's like it probably is overhyped, but you only get it. I think that's why people want it so much because you have it for a very limited time. But that's just me. Oh, by the way, I forgot we had a couple of super chats. I forgot.
Yes, we did. We got Ill Magic with the brand new one.
Where was the one? There was a 20. I gotta go find that.
It was law something, I believe.
Yeah, I thought I started. Sorry, Law. Let me go back to that. I completely forgot my brain. There we go. My apologies, Law STI 6050 with a 20. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
That's nice
very much, Law. Said, been watching you and Rick's flicks for a while now. Thanks for the park coverage. Thoughts on Hagrid's shutting down Express? Thinking about booking the Hard Rock this weekend to get in while the getting's good. We've talked about this one before. I think it was as a move to really for the general guest experience. It is a bummer if you are looking to get Express Pass to ride this because obviously this is a very in-demand ride. We're going to go back, I think, on Friday because it's going to be one of the last times we get to use our Premier Express to be able to ride Hagrid's. But if they don't have the Express Pass in there, the standby won't be as bad, which we were seeing wait times popping up there to like 200 minutes in some instances. So I think it's an overall good move for the guest experience. It's just a bummer for those that bought Express Pass or wanting to get Express Pass specifically for Hagrid's. But you know, if you don't have the Express Pass line going, your standby experience is better. But I mean, I don't like it personally, but I understand why you would do it. And I think it's for, you know, we'll see if they might introduce it into their single pass option down the line, but we'll see about that.
If demand far exceeds supply, there's really nothing you can do, right? I mean, at some point, you know, that standby has to move eventually. Which, by the way, and maybe you can speak about this, Almighty Coasters, but I heard this report out there. I don't know if it was true or not, but apparently some people were saying that Express Pass holders, or at least some of them, were like getting right back into line, like jumping a portion of the fence in which you can actually do that, and getting right back into the express line and then riding multiple times on Hagrid's. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I mean, if it was, it's like, okay, well, now you have bigger problems there.
Yeah. I don't know how easy it was. So I don't know, but something that everyone could exploit. But I do know there are certain places in there of how it goes where you, because it goes by the exit and then going over there where you're able to go ahead and flip through and go back on. And with the way they were doing it, where they scan it, you know, because since they scan it so early, you can't scan it again.
That can make it susceptible.
I wish what they would have done, because they did it with Mario Kart Bowser Challenge out here, but I know they switched the programming where you scan your express when you initially go through the line, and then you scan it before you go into the last room where it meets again too. But I know that's different programming, and because I know for over here and Hollywood, they had a big thing where, especially for the pass holders, they reprogrammed all the expresses. Because before it didn't matter, like say like with me, like because I had my son and his mom, I had their platinum passes on my phone, right? So but I was able to use it as my one-time express pass. I could use theirs even if they didn't scan into the park.
Right.
Interesting.
Okay.
So they started that with Mario first, and then they made it to now you have to be in the park to get to scan in the park to actually use the express, and then they made it to where, because before it's after 3 o'clock. Because out here it's after 3 o'clock. I think in Florida it's after 4 o'clock. To your one time, but then they made it to that they had to reprogram everything again to scan it so that it wasn't, so you couldn't use it at any time, because even though they said, hey, after 3 o'clock I could go in there at 10 a.m. and use it as well too. So they had to do a lot of reprogramming, and that started with Mario.
Interesting.
Because for the longest time Mario didn't allow the express, and then they started using the express pass. So I'm thinking maybe in Florida they might have to do the same thing as well, and they're just not doing it. So then for them, they're just they're able to go ahead and take it out. But yes, VIP experience guests can still use their expresses for Hagrid's. It's what I heard.
Yes, that they can do it for that.
Yeah.
And I think they've been using a lot more, slowly implementing more of the facial recognition for Express Pass too. So that is something. It's kind of intermittent on which rides do it, but they are kind of more and more.
And when it works as well. But I think that was because they're using facial. And that's the thing. So I think because they're using facial, once it reads it at one place, like it's good to go again. So I think where they have it, because Hagrid's, because that's the thing with facial recognition, you need the lights and everything as well too. And because of the way that queue line is too, it's so early that I think it was more of a detriment, and they couldn't do it again.
Yeah. Well, maybe they could, I guess, redesign a portion of the queue to do the express how they want. Maybe that's one reason why they shut it down.
Yeah,
it's possible, but it will come back at some point. I think probably after Pokemon comes in.
Yeah, once they get the next big thing.
Yeah, then it'll probably be back within a couple of years, be my guess. But we also have a 5 here from Il Magic again. Thank you, Il Magic. He said, imagine if they did a full Thriller performance at Universal at night.
Dude.
Like a scare zone of Thrillers. I mean,
that would be cool.
Game over, dude. It'd be game over.
And you would have everybody in that park having red leather jackets at 90 degrees.
People wouldn't leave. I'd say, but guys, you guys just need to do this in City Walk, because I need to get somewhere else.
It would be, I think they would make all the money in the world. And then we also have a 2 here from Cayman's Island Podcast, or maybe Cayman's Island Podcast, for a 2. Thank you. Odds of ever seeing Lord of the Rings at Universal.
Oh, it's interesting. I don't know. It's kind of weird right now. It's hard to say really, because WB is kind of going through like some changes right now.
A little bit.
Right, a little bit with Paramount and all that stuff. So it's tough to say right now. Cayman's Island. I mean, a little bit, right? I feel like there's like kind of a push for that right now too. So, In the short term, I don't think it's going to happen. To be honest with you, maybe eventually though.
I think the chances of it happening are higher because ever since Tolkien's son passed away, the family estate there has been really doing licensing deals way more and looking to monetize it more than they were previously. So I suppose your chances of it happening in a theme park are higher, but I think a lot of it would depend on how this new, like they got some new movies and shows coming out. If those caught on, maybe, but I think just off the popularity of, and mind you, it's the greatest trilogy ever made, in my opinion, which is Lord of the Rings, but I don't know if they would build an entire land off of that trilogy alone without something new really kind of popping off, would be my guess. But so it's kind of twofold. Your chances are higher because of the current situation with the family, but is there actual demand enough for it, I suppose?
I'm with the demand because I love Lord of the Rings. So I say two Towers, Return of the King. But also, is it that I will say OG knows this, isn't that guy?
Yeah.
And right now, I don't think Lord of the Rings is that guy.
Yeah.
Where it's gonna bring people, because I think even with Harry Potter, but that's the way they could do it. They might be able to make it to bring more people in and build it, but I don't think it could do it on its own. I more see Lord of the Rings more so like on its own with a fantasy land with other things in there as well. But I don't really see Lord of the Rings by itself as a land.
I agree, and actually, I do have that guy drop. Hold on one sec. Here we go.
Oh my God, I'm really that guy. Yeah, bitch, I'm outside.
There we go.
we got Vash with the B-roll, always on point. We know we got OG with random rap lyrics still in there. We've got it all covered here, really. And
there we go. That's what we do.
And we do have another 20 here from
and the hammer.
I got nothing. I'm just sitting here, just chilling and.
You brought us together. You made us a symbol.
You know what? Yeah, we're all coming together here. That's what the important thing is. Another 20 here from Lawist to 6015. Thank you.
Hey, Jared, though, you know what I don't have though?
What's that?
I don't have a pumpkin spice latte next to me. I can tell you that.
Right?
That's true.
I'm gonna hound you. Al and I are gonna hound you about criminal pumpkin spices during the fall. Just be prepared. When I come to Florida or when I go to California, it's gonna be pumpkin spices. I'm just gonna be flowing. But, he says Express now for single payers is fine. I've got a family of 4, $20 to $35 per person. After booking the resort is criminal. Well, I agree. And there is some speculation if they would even be able to do Express Pass now, given that Lowe's contract. So that we'll see. I have my doubts from what I've been hearing that I think this is just off Express Pass. So I don't know if you see it back, but I do think if they were able to put it on Express now, I think if you charge $50, people would pay it. Especially into that route.
But it has to be that way because I remember because I'm not sure how it was at Disney World, but at Disneyland, and when they switched and they went to like what was original like Genie Plus and everything too, and they're like, oh, we're making it an upcharge, but the upcharge was so low, everyone was doing it, so like there's no point. And I think you have to find the balance where if it doesn't make people think, everyone's going to use it, and then you're still in that same predicament.
If everyone's special, no one is.
Yep. Well, the Express now, the logic there would be they could control the drops more. So maybe if a bunch sold, they don't, but I don't know. It's possible they do, but there's some people that say if it's not on the overall Express Pass offerings, that they can't offer the Express now with it. We'll find out whenever it comes off of it. But
now, real quick, I'm getting a request to play the Ally soundbite from from Theme Park Wizard, the one and only Bob Chapek. Here we go.
Apologize for not being the ally that you needed me to be.
There we go.
He is deeply sorry about a lot of things.
Deeply. Actually, I think Vash, you have that same soundbite. No.
I do.
Oh, he does.
Apologize for not being the ally that you needed me to be.
There we go.
But I will say, not being the ally he needed to be got Bob Chapek. I'm sure he has a yacht somewhere. He's doing okay. So
he's doing just fine.
After he got hit with the hammer.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of my shower. Like you got.
Exactly. Actually, you know what? I actually have two Bob Chapek sound drops.
Oh,
I got another one right over here. There you go.
There we go.
Oh man.
By the way, I would respect, and we're gonna get out of here, but if how we talk about the Bob Iger going away, tour that keeps happening, at some point, I'm not going to be shocked if like he gets really petty, like Michael Jordan. He's like, he just goes on this rant about how much he hates Bob Chapek. This is a final jab. He's just like, you know what? It wasn't my fault. And he just starts going crazy. You're just like, oh, Bob's got some thoughts because he doesn't want that on his legacy. But we'll see. But
we can play this behind him when Bob Iger's complaining about Bob Chapek.
no. Josh tomorrow's sitting there awkwardly just to the side, like, no, Josh, you're fine. But well, no, this has been a really fun show. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. We are way over time here, so we're going to get out of here. So everybody go to bed and enjoy their evening. So before we get out of here, first I want to say thank you to the chat. You guys have been great for the super chats and everything like that. Very, very generous. Before we get out of here, though, Orange Grove 55 CEO and chairman of the board.
I changed.
He is the Bob Iger of the OG 55 Corporation.
Let's go.
They find you.
I love it. Hey, we were talking about it earlier on. I'm like, you know what? I
don't know when you changed it. I saw it about 10 minutes ago, and I was like, that's pretty good.
CEO and chairman of the board of OG 55. Awesome show, guys. I love talking shop with you guys. Alan, it was awesome having you on. I love doing content with Alan. Alan and I do a lot of bar chats on OG 55. Always have a good time with Alan. But everybody in the chat, thank you also for joining us. But you can find me right here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, talking theme parks, studio, and all that good stuff. And you can find me on Instagram and X, Orange Grove 55.
Absolutely. And by the way, now I am CEO of the Bros. So I don't know what that means.
There he is. Oh, see? Perfect. I love it.
And Mr. B-roll extraordinaire. And honestly, the B-roll, I'm not trying to glaze over here, Vash, but like Vash is B-roll, and like Vash knows his stuff. Highly respect Vash. But Vash, thank you as always for being on here. And where can they find you? And I know you got a live stream tomorrow, I believe at 2:00.
At 2:00 Eastern, right there after that Park Place. Should be very, very interesting indeed. Talking about speaking of people actually getting out of ride vehicles, doing what they maybe shouldn't be doing. We had a gal recently actually climb up the exterior of Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, which I thought was going to be the craziest story of that particular live stream right there. No. I guess there are multiple Tiana troubles that we have to go over, and so much more right there. Also, too, everybody's going crazy about Universal Studios Hollywood and their new security checks and so forth. We'll cover that as crazy stuff. We'll cover that as well over there on Vash Sky ParkCast. Again, 2 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be tomorrow right there. Please go ahead and, turn the bell notifications on. That way you're notified when we go live. That would be very, very helpful. Want to go ahead and big shout out to Almighty Coasters. Yes. He is an absolute expert in these things. And want to go ahead and thank him for his time. Awesome stuff. Jared, OG, very much appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Hey, that's an oldie but goodie, Vash. That's an oldie but goodie. That's classic.
Don't forget, you do have the Vash and Vixen show on Saturdays for the members. So go check out that.
That's true. That's true. It's a good point right there.
Absolutely. And Alan from Almighty Coasters, thank you for being here. It was great conversation. Your knowledge of roller coasters is well appreciated. So thank you for being here. Where can they find you? The wielder of the band hammer.
Yes.
Oh, you got me at Almighty Coasters on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube and Instagram, and Almighty Coaster on that dreaded X.
On the dreaded X. If you want to go pick random fights on the internet, that's the place to go.
Just type in Universal Studios Hollywood Security Hub, and you'll get into a fight.
Fantastic.
It is.
You can also just say, I'm having a nice day, and then you'll get a bunch of people telling you why you shouldn't. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go about your content on X if you'd like.
Totally weird off-topic thing. Jared knows. I don't think Alan and Vash know. Random Universal Studios City Walk story. I was at City Walk at Margaritaville getting some food and a beer, hanging out, whatever. And I don't know if you guys heard that the influencer, she's like a Twitch live streamer that was like, she got banned for using her feet as a green screen.
Also use some other body parts as a green screen too.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm at Margaritaville, and guess who's sitting right next to me live streaming? The chick with the green screen feet, bro.
You know what you were saying
only in LA.
Yeah,
bring this.
It's pretty fitting.
Going to Universal now, guys.
Let's go.
I'll be the guy with the band hammer.
Yeah, but Jared, thanks for having me. You're awesome. This forum is amazing. I had a great time. Vash, B-roll extraordinaire.
Yes.
Makes everything good. Plus, OG with his crazy stories. He has a story for everything. With green springing feet, like that. Tourism traps. Avoiding all the pumpkin spice. But he's
almost getting the digits of an AI robot on the phone.
Yes, that'd be
that close, dude. I was that close.
Oh, he's like caught him in his hat. I just see it. He's just like, maybe I'll shoot my shot. And you're like, actually, I'm an AI. And you're like, okay, well,
what?
We can make this work. Maybe we'll see.
We'll see. It's a trap. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's a trap.
It's a trap. But all right. Well, thank you guys for being here. And again, thank you everybody in the chat. Thank you for everyone that super chatted everything. Remy D, Ill Magic, Camen's Island Podcast, Lost 6015, Storybook Sorceress had some comments in there. Kiki and Luca had a gifted membership. So thank you guys very much. And we will see you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you later. Bye.
Peace.